All right, it's gonna take a minute or two to get the program going. So, as usual, I ask you folks to bear with me. What the hell did I just click on here? Let me go ahead and get my last stream up, and we'll make it happen momentarily. We're only going to be on live. Only going to be live on TikTok and YouTube tonight. So we're going to keep it simple. This is a week in review, and that is what we're going to tackle. I'm changing some of my camera angles around on some of my other devices. So for my YouTube watchers, it may look a little bit different because I'm putting different cameras on. But give me a minute to get this last stream going, and we'll be starting the show momentarily. We're just going to be on TikTok and YouTube tonight. Going to be talking about the weekend. There's a couple crazy things I want to run by you folks, get your opinion on it, and see what you think. But you know the era we in. Shit, every time I come on here, there's more crazy shit to talk about. What did Nikki Haley say when Nikki Haley was running for president? She said, "Don't get, America's answer in regards to President Biden, because she was obviously running to get Biden out of office. She said the answer is not to get rid of more chaos, not to replace chaos with more chaos." So, um, she was indicating that by getting rid of Biden and putting Trump in there, you're just replacing the type of chaos you have with a different chaotic individual. But I'll leave that up to you folks to come to that conclusion. That's what Nikki Haley was running on. Cindy and the National Guard, all these white on white crimes is getting out of hand. Well, the National Guard, we're going to talk about that for a moment tonight too, but they look like they're going to Portland. So they don't appear to be going to these other places that you may be suggesting it has white on white crime. Trump is sending the National Guard to Portland, Oregon, and there's a big protest going on there right now as we speak. So I think I'm ready to go. I think I got everything up here up and running. So if so, damn, this last camera is a little bit stiff there. Okay. All right, we're good to go. And we'll start the program in three, two, one. What up, folks? Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Depending on who you ask. Let me go ahead and make sure I'm not on Bluetooth and Wi-Fi is properly set up real quick here momentarily. Just want to make sure that we don't have any jitters or skips. Anyway, hopefully you guys are doing okay this evening. We took a couple of days off, which we sometimes do, but just because we didn't come on here for the last couple of days does not mean the news did not continue doing what it normally does, and it certainly has. Couple things I want to talk about right off the bat. This day, this day we're in right now, what is this, September the 28th, I believe it is, 2025. We've had two mass casualty events in this calendar day. There's been two of them today. Making currently we are at, I believe, if the numbers are correct, we've had 320 mass shootings this year, and that is described as four or more people getting shot, not including the shooter. So you don't have to lose your life in a mass shooting. Somebody walks up into a bank and they pop eight or nine people, and all eight or nine people survive. That is still a mass shooting, obviously. So they define a mass shooting as four or more people getting shot, and that does not include the shooter themselves. We've had two of those today, today. And I don't know if you guys are aware of what we're talking about, but I'll go ahead and give you the rundown. The gentleman on the monitor behind me, his name is Nigel Edge. He's out of North Carolina. He pulled up on a boat. So there was a restaurant. Get on the coast. There's some places that have restaurants where you can dock your boat, and you can have the waitress come out to the boat with the food, or I guess you can get off and go and walk in, or whatever the case may be. But anyway, he pulled up to a restaurant that was, dockside, and he started shooting. He ended up taking the life of three people, and he injured eight. So that's 11 people getting shot, three died. That's certainly a mass shooting. So that happened early this morning in North Carolina. And I'm sure you folks probably have also heard about the church. There was a church event that happened in the state of Michigan. Now, both of these individuals, this is the second guy. His name is Thomas Jacob Sanford. He is also 40. So both of these individuals are 40 years of age. And he drove his car into a church, proceeded to start shooting the parishioners, and set the church on fire. So far, his tally is he's killed 2 and wounded 8 people. So 10 people. Now, somebody in the comments is saying, are you saying that a San Antonio casino had another mass shooting? I haven't heard that one. Has there been another one? Yikes. Really? I don't know. I haven't. Yeah, somebody says yes. There's been another one. There's been 3 today. Wow. I have not seen that one yet in the San Antonio casino. I'm curious to see. I don't want to delay the live too long, but I have not heard about that. How long ago did that happen? Goodness gracious. I just want to see what comes up real quick before we start the show and continue on. But yeah, it looks like at the Lucky Eagle Casino. Just want to see what they have real quick here.
Have you ever wanted to see your home from space?
No, I have not wanted to see my home from space.
You can zoom right down to your...
Okay, this is a clip that just shows a bunch of police cars, but there's no audio to it. I'm just interested in seeing what's going on with this.
Good morning. I'm News 4 San Antonio's Destiny Fuller, bringing you a live update to a story we first brought you overnight online. It's about a deadly shooting that happened here in Maverick County at the Kickapoo Lucky Eagle Casino. We now know that 2 people are dead and multiple people are injured after a shooting that broke out just after 12:30 this morning. We're still working to gather some of the details for you on exactly what happened, but we do know that, again, 2 people are dead and several are injured. We've reached out to authorities with the Kickapoo Tribal Police.
I got 2 dead and several injured, so that certainly would qualify the definition of a mass shooting. I'm gonna tell you something now. Maybe it's because I'm getting old. Maybe some of you agree. Maybe some of you thinks that I'm just, you just too old and you're not ready for the current game. But I strongly believe in the statement, nothing good happens after midnight. I'm telling you, one of the best ways to prevent yourself from being involved in some of this shit, get your ass in the house by a decent hour. I mean, that was something I lived by when I was in Chicago, even as a young man. Being out in the street past about 10 o'clock at night just greatly improves your chances. It improves the statistical probability of a bad outcome. Whether you're going to a club, you're going to a house party, whatever the case may be. When they say nothing good happens after midnight, that shit is absolutely true. I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't get into a lot of trouble as a young man on the south side of Chicago. I stood by that even in my 20s. Nothing good happens at the midnight. A lot of this shit you hear in those wee hours of the morning types, especially now there's a difference though in the type of stuff that goes on in, let's say, the Black community in the hood versus this type of stuff, mass shootings. In the Black community, it's going to be gang, drug-related stuff. So they usually know who they're trying to get. They may hit you by accident, but it's usually beef between rival drug dealers, rival gangbangers, or whatever. So it's a little easier to stay out of the way of it, because what goes on with these mass shootings is it's just somebody comes in there and shoots up a bunch of innocent people. That doesn't normally happen in the urban areas. That's not their method of operation. I'm just going to go into the 7-Eleven and shoot everybody in there. They don't normally do that. That is probably the difference to some degree between white shootings versus Black shootings. I mean, like I said, the Black shootings, they are more numerous. They are more numerous, but they do tend to be aiming at somebody that they have some type of relationship with. Like this guy going into the church and just ramming his car and just popping people. He didn't have a beef with all of those folks. He just wanted to take out a bunch of innocent people. That's a different type of deal. But so that's 3 of them today. Then, if there's been 3, chances are my number I gave you of 320 mass shootings this year probably is not accurate. Probably 321, maybe 322. But anyway, we're going to continue on. We're not going to just simply talk about mass shootings, because I'll hear your side of it, and I do want to hear you folks let me know if you agree with the late Charlie Kirk that as a condition of maintaining our Second Amendment rights, that some shootings should be acceptable. I do want to talk about that, but I'm not going to go too far down the road of mass shootings because I mean, I hate to sound like the end of Gone. What was it? Gone with the Wind or whatever. Frankly, I don't think America gives a damn. I really do not think we care about this stuff very much. Now, you've seen what happened. Charlie Kirk lost his life. Flags are at half staff. There was all sorts of tributes to him. You know, obviously, probably the largest funeral, probably in the history of this century. There's probably not been a funeral larger than that in the history of the 21st century. Now, Charlie Kirk's honoring after he lost his life is probably greater than all of the folks that have been victims of mass shootings, school killings combined. Combined. So I'm going to simply say I don't think we care about what Nigel Ford did today at the voting place or Thomas Jacob Sanford did at the church. I don't think we really care about it. I don't see any type of way to look at this and say America actually gives a damn about this stuff. I think we'll offer both of these situations thoughts and prayers, and then we'll do nothing. And then we'll do nothing. And in fact, when you look at what Nigel Edge did, or better yet, Thomas Jacob Sanford did at the church, I think that goes a long way to prove that thoughts and prayers are useless. They're starting to kill people that are praying. The people are actively in the process of actually praying when they're losing their lives. So the thoughts and prayers thing needs to be, people need to realize that's not going to make any difference. There was a couple children that lost their lives in Minnesota where the killer waited outside of the church and actually blasted through the windows and hit children while they were actively praying. So the thoughts and prayers thing to me is coming across as a joke. But let me move on, and we'll end up talking about that from a standpoint of you guys. But here's something I want you to hear. This is well. Before I get to this, this is something I do want you guys to hear. But are you aware of this particular story?
FBI agents have been fired for protesting in the wake of George Floyd's murder. ABC News has learned the group in question took part in a civil rights demonstration in Washington, D.C. in June of 2020. Photos show at least some of them kneeling. As many as 20 agents have been dismissed. A number of them worked at the Bureau's Washington field office. At least some were reassigned earlier this year. What do
you guys think about that? We're going to talk about that. Now, they took a knee with protesters back during the George Floyd protests back in 2020. The Trump administration has caught up with them by way of Kash Patel, and they fired them for that. They're firing them for taking the knee almost 6 years ago. They fired them for that. I'd like to know what you guys think about that. I don't know. I see the comments. Bobby Nestor says Trump is doing a great job. I'd like to know how this helps anybody out. I would be curious to know how this helps anybody out. By the way, I've been to a couple Black Lives Matter protests, and one of the ones that I went to, the chief of police took a knee with the protesters. I didn't take a knee myself, man, but plenty of people did. And the chief of police took a knee as well, and they walked down the streets arm in arm. And at that time, the chief of police said he was going to ban chokeholds with his officers. Should he be fired by his governor or the city mayor because he took a knee back in 2020? Wow. I don't know what else to say about that. I do not know what else to say about that. In addition, some of you folks may be also aware that ICE is being sent, not ICE, but I put ICE down in my notes, but the National Guard, rather. The National Guard is being deployed to the city of Portland, Oregon. The mayor and the governor of that state is on television saying, we do not need these people here. We don't want them here. So we'll end up talking about all of that. And last but not least, this is not as relevant, but it's very interesting. How many of you folks know who Charleston White is? He's kind of like almost along for a while. I'll just say it like this. For a while, he was kind of along the lines of Candace Owens, the Hodge twins, Officer Tatum, Kanye West a little bit, where he was an African American from the hood that had no problem criticizing the antics of African Americans. But I'm going to say for a while, because this one here, he's talking about Charlie Kirk, and suddenly he's kind of fallen out of favor with a particular community.
And with white folk, because they done something. I'm with white folk because I with everybody. How y'all gonna tell me what I can't say? It was fun and dandy when I talked about the George Floyd and his daughter. It was fun and dandy when they had the Uvalde school shooting. I made mockery of the Uvalde Mexican baby getting killed. It was funny when I made the Houston news talking about raping Asian babies. It was funny when I was talking about the Jews and Aiden Ross' sister. It was, now it's on y'all. And y'all used to love me, set my tickets, but now it's on y'all. I told y'all I don't like nobody. I like white pussy. I don't like white people. I like Chick-fil-A. I like the Constitution. White folks just happen to be in the way of that. But I don't like nothing and nobody to say I won't talk about them if something happens. It's what I get paid for. It's called satire comedy.
When Charlie Kirk died, I looked up your name on Twitter, and a lot of people said that you were the Charlie Kirk for black people.
There's no such thing as a Charlie Kirk for black people. No. Let me tell you why. Because I'm a black man that stopped looking at white people's problems and started looking at my people's problems. Charlie Kirk didn't look at his people's problem. He stayed looking at black people's problem as if we're the problem.
That's not true.
False.
Now, these gentlemen are doing what do you call it, a reaction to the video. I just want you to hear Charlie Kirk and get your, not Charlie Kirk, Charleston White, and get your opinion of how he feels on Charlie Kirk. So, big weekend review. I'm sure other topics will come up as well, but we're going to go ahead and start the show. Yep, exactly. Kirk did not face his own people. And I can't deny that. This damn shirt is making it hard for me to read some of you guys' comments. I can't deny that because I'm not aware of anything that Charlie Kirk said that was against white people. He said a lot of stuff that was negative about blacks. I don't know of anything he said that was critical of whites either. But Charleston White has a whole lot of quotes that are critical of black people. So he is right. He does criticize his own people. And he's saying that Charlie Kirk does not. I don't know of a lot of criticism towards the white community that came from Charlie Kirk. Looking in the comments though, Charles and don't know what he's talking about. All of us are, and he's going to start defending Carmelo Anthony and start talking shit about Charlie. He must have got put in check real good. I mean, he's been put in check since he came on the scene. Casey, I mean, he's been getting challenged by the black community from day one. Let me go straight to the box. We're talking about the weekend review, so we're taking this any and everywhere it goes. Gangsta Grandma can start the program off. What do you think about what Charleston White said? Do you agree, disagree?
What did you say?
I said, what do you think about what he just said? Do you agree with that?
Do you really think I do? Oh, he likes the uncooked meat. Hey, I give him props for being bold like that.
He said he likes white vagina.
Yeah, he likes uncooked meat. The shit that makes the guy give you gonorrhea and syphilis.
Wait a minute. Are you saying
he's a maggot?
Okay. Wait. You're saying that blacks involved in interracial marriages are getting gonorrhea? What are you talking about?
No. I'm not saying that. I said he's a maggot. That's why I'm talking shit. He's a maggot. Honey, I'm pro black. I like my black love. I don't go to the other side. You know, I shit. Darker the berry, the sweeter the juice for me, honey. When I go down on somebody, at least I don't see the veins and shit. These they got the chocolate on and shit. You feel what I'm saying?
You don't see the veins. Oh my God. I don't think that
because you know what, the white women, and I ain't gonna lie, the white women say, "Oh, you guys' coochies look like roast beef." Oh no, sweetheart, our chocolate coochies look good, honey. They nice and right, unlike your ugly asses, all fucked up, tore up from the floor up. But you
already got my audience claiming that you're racist already with that comment.
You know what? You know what's so funny about that shit? Is because they always say I'm racist when I'm telling the fucking truth. You know, if they but JJ look fucked up and they smell funny and you give us gonorrhea and shit, hey, that's not being racist. Telling you your shit is stanky booty. You know what I'm saying?
But why would
Why
you?
do you think they say? Why do you think they say they do not wash their ass every day? I've been seeing this shit on TikTok. No, I'm not white, Jeremy. You wish I was. I'll still never touch your ass if I was.
Why would you suggest that white people don't wash up and all this crazy?
They be saying
Where
it
you?
on
Wait.
TikTok all
Do
day.
you have any white friends or associates at all?
My allies.
Your what?
That's it. My allies.
What is that?
Yeah, my allies.
Okay.
You know what the fucking ally is?
Yeah, I know what an ally is, but I don't see how you.
Well,
I don't
that's
see
what
how you
I
would have
said.
any allies talking like this.
I don't give a fuck. Hey, you know what? I say the shit out loud. Unfortunately, like your big old kissing ass be sucking on that uncooked meat and dripping. Yeah, let's go there, okay, Boogie?
This ain't got
Don't come
nothing.
for me.
This ain't got nothing to do with uncooked meat or sucking on
It
it.
is uncooked meat. Don't lie. It is uncooked fucking meat. I be saying the same shit. You know what? I say the shit out loud, and I'm proud to say my shit out loud. You don't. You are a pussy ass Negro that can't even say. I see you online. They tear your ass up. Don't you understand?
Wait a
They tear
minute.
your ass up online. They do.
Where are we going to be as a country if all of the African Americans act like you?
Well, you know what? Let me tell you something. At least I speak my fucking truth. Unlike your ass, ugly ass, you be like sucking on that shit. Like, damn, fool.
I think what you do is put us at a greater risk of having civil
You know
unrest.
what? No. I tell the damn truth. The motherfuckers never did like our asses. What the fuck is wrong with you? They never did like our asses. Why do you think we had to go through all that bullshit?
No, not the way you're doing things. As many would say, it just sounds like blatant racism.
Look at here. They tear us up every fucking damn day. Look what they're doing now. They're taking everything away. They rise up the prices and every damn thing else. They're coming for us. Like he says it. He's going to build more prisons and stuff. Do you want me to say kumbaya, ta-ta, and do what? And
Well,
be nice to the
I don't want you
Triple
to.
K? You want me to be nice to Triple K? You want me to kiss a maggot's ass? And that's the one thing I would never do. I would never bow down to the white man who kisses the white man.
Okay, here's what I mean.
The maggots do not like us. They don't
Because-
like black or brown people.
Because
They
of your
want us out in the field.
like I got Peter in the comments. Peter I don't know what it says, loving rebel or something, says, LOL, what is this evil bitch saying? I mean, you see what you bring out of people?
I tell the truth, and they don't like me telling the truth. They do not like the fact that I tell them all. I don't give a fuck. They kiss my black ass. The maggots. Now, I'm not talking about my allies. I am not talking about my allies. I'm talking about the maggots that go in against us. Now, like I said, if there was a maggot in the water and there was my ally in the water, I'll save my ally before I save a maggot.
I just don't think I don't. Well, first of all, I don't agree with the stuff you're saying, particularly about white people. But
I don't give
also,
a fuck what you
I know
think.
you don't. You sound
have
like
protein. You have the uncooked protein all up in your fucking mouth. All up in your fucking mouth and dripping. You would rather kiss a white man's ass than go down and do anything for the black community. Shut the fuck up. Let's be fucking for real, okay?
What is-
Because you are cupcaking with a fucking maggot that will put you in a tree before anybody else will. And you know what? This white on white shit is getting ridiculous. They're coming for our fucking asses. Oh my God, there's black on black crime. At least we know where the fucking the pew pew at. When we go after somebody, we're going after the person that fucked with us. You feel what I'm saying?
what
They
have
fucking
you know some.
Unfortunately, these other fucking wannabe triple Kers and these white maggots is pew-pewing up everybody. They went for a church today. They went for a bar.
You know,
What the
I hear you talking, and the first question I want to know: what have you been through? Who hurt you? I mean, have you been victimized by someone white?
I'm not. Just because I talk shit about the maggots, not our allies. See, there's a difference between an ally and a fucking maggot. An ally uses their white tea privilege to go after the other fucking maggots that don't want to give us shit, okay? That don't want to help us. They want to, put us back in the slaves. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the maggots.
Okay, when you're talking about
that's what they voted for that clown in office. Do you know what we're fixing to get put on? 100% tariff on our prescriptions. Do you know that one of my auntie's drugs that comes from Japan, you can't get it from only from Japan, and I can't even say the damn name. It's a chemo drug. $15,000 a fucking month. $15,000 a month right now before the tariffs hit. You know how much it's gonna cost? So fuck you. Quit getting the fucking white cock out your fucking mouth, and then let's talk about the real shit. Okay, that's why I hate these motherfuckers, because they put us in a fucked up situation. They always blame Biden. Now look at the fuck we're in.
I'm being told.
The brown people and everything else. So fuck you, Tim. I'm not gonna be like you. I'm never gonna be like you. I'm not bow down and suck a white man's cock because you want to be nice to their asses. And they're gonna put you in a fucking damn tree. Get the fuck out of here. I would never do that.
Okay, this is not about being nice to anyone. It's about doing what's best. It's about doing what's best for this country.
Do you understand? You push back harder on me than you push back on a white man.
I don't have.
Understand how fucking stupid you sound? You push back harder on me than you would never push back on a fucking white man. Jeremy, he put a vet down. You didn't push back. You know what you said, Boogie? Well, Jeremy, don't be like that, Jeremy. No, baby.
Okay, wait. Okay, listen. We gotta have a conversation. Okay, let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. Okay,
I'm having a conversation with your ugly ass.
You tell me I push back harder on you than any white guy. I don't have any white guy to come on the program that talks to me as awful as you do. So what do you think I'm gonna do?
See, let me tell you something. See, I'm a sweetheart. You feel what I'm saying? I am a total sweetheart.
What?
But see, one thing is, I'm a sweetheart, but I'm a nice person. I come straight facts with your ass. I'm not gonna sit here and cupcake with you and toot around and lie to you. I'm saying the straight fucking facts. You don't like the fucking facts. You have it dripping from your mouth. And how does it ever taste like? I never had that shit come my mouth. I had chocolate protein, and that tastes good. You feel what I'm saying?
No, I don't.
So I don't understand. I don't. And you know, I don't. Hey, I don't knock a black man going to a white coochie. Hey, more power to you, my nigga. But don't.
Hey. You know what the app will do.
Oh, my bad. I said, I've been taking ninja. But yeah, I don't give a damn. But let me tell you something, though. I ain't never gonna be like you. Never in my life. I'll never bow down to the maggots.
This is not, listen, when I say the program is MAGA friendly, my beloved MAGA, I enjoy talking to MAGA. I make that clear.
I bet you do.
But this has nothing to do with bowing down. What are you talking about?
I know you enjoy talking to, because you know why? Because you like to coddle them and, oh, it's okay. Let them spill all the fucking shit. You know what I mean? Oh my God, you make me fucking physically sick sometimes. And you know, I'm very nice today. Don't you understand? You hear
You're
me?
feeling nice today. Is that what you just said?
Yeah, I am being nice. Don't you think? I'm so high as a kite. I'm so nice. Today, I'm not even yelling that ugly ass. Am I?
You've accused me of sucking white dick about a half dozen times.
You do. It comes on.
But you're not yelling at me, huh?
Every fucking show you do. Every fucking show you do. You have it dripping from your fucking mouth. You come harder with me. And I can take your hardness because you lying hard. You're a puss. You were a punk. I say it like that. You a punk. Because I come harder with all these maggots.
What you want me to do.
You know, but I got bigger balls than you and I don't even have fucking balls.
What you want me to do. The purpose of this program is to let everybody speak, to have a sort of forum where everybody can come together. What you want me to do is bash MAGA even if they don't deserve it. I'm not going to bash them just for the sake of doing it. That's what you're trying to suggest I do.
Do you realize what they fucking put us in? Do you realize you want us to keep ka and all that shit? Fucking no. I would never.
No.
Let me tell you something. What the fuck they putting us in? Look what the country is going to hell. Our country is going to fucking hell. They don't like us. Don't you understand that, Timmy boy? They don't like
Jackson
us.
On YouTube said, you are part of the problem. That's what Jackson says you're part of the problem.
You know what? You want us to kiss their ass. That's what that is. I'm never going to kiss their ass.
There's nothing to do with kissing ass.
I'm going to kiss their ass. They put us in a fucked up situation. Our prices are sky high. They are kicking people out of the country that don't deserve to be kicked out. And what? And homegrown's next? You think that they're not going to come for us, Tim? Homegrown is next.
Well, you don't have to be homegrown, gangster. You don't have to be homegrown. Don't commit a crime.
They're coming for your skin color next. They're coming for us next. They've been already done it, though, Kim.
What is
in the 1930s? They did it. You don't think they didn't? They deported black Mexicans.
Trump wasn't
They
even.
did in the
Trump
30s.
was not even born in the 1930s.
Oh,
What does it got to do with
fucking
this?
God, Kim, you're so stupid.
You already knew that was coming. I'll move it on. You knew that was coming.
Well, no, look. Let me tell you something, see, Tim. I'm gonna be trying to be nice as I can be.
Really?
I'm gonna try to be nice as I can be. When he said he was coming from the homegrown, what do you think he's meant? You think he's gonna come from the homegrown? What, white people? No. They're coming for us. They came for us in the 30s. They went. You don't think those black Mexicans? The W back? They did it. They kicked them out, and they was United States citizens in the 30s. People really need to know the damn history. You don't think they're not going to do it?
Until I see something from President Trump, I don't. Until I see something, I guess they took her down. Until I see something from President Trump, I'm not going to compare the guy to the 19th. That's strong talk. I mean, we'll certainly hear from other folks. You guys can let me know, and I do see in the comments. None of your business says she is speaking facts. So there are some folks that agree with her. I'm having a hard time reading the damn comments because I happen to put on a shirt that's the same coloring in many cases as the writing behind there. Fluffery in progress, says King Finn. I don't know where any of that exists. Let me continue on with the program. You are allowing free speech in the wrong manner, says Lynn. What is the right manner of free speech? You'd have to let me know. I don't like hate speech. I'll tell you that. I'll point it out. But let me know what you mean by free speech in the wrong manner, because that Trump has kind of said something similar to that. It's undocumented, then visas, birthright citizenship, Indiana Jews, non-Christian, and so on. What do you think he's going to do? Deport the whole country? You're saying he's going to deport the undocumented, which he's doing. Then he's going to deport the visa folks, which he is kind of doing. Then he's going to deport birthright citizenship, which he is trying to do. Indians. You can't, wait a minute. You think he's going to deport you're talking about the folks from India, or you're talking about the Native Americans? Because you're saying he's going to deport Indians. I haven't heard that one. Jews? I don't think Trump is going to start deporting Jewish people. I mean, certainly with the way he's giving Netanyahu a free pass to do whatever, I don't see Trump as doing that. You said they're going to deport the non-Christian. I don't know if I see those. I don't know. That's pretty harsh. By the way, only way you can do all of that stuff is for him to certainly become a dictator, because you can't do all that in 3 years. Poor black woman, she's a victim. They're all victims, says Dante. All right. What this government is doing to others will eventually be done to you. That's frightening. That's frightening. Now, getting back to the actual topic of the show, we're talking about a few things here. Number one being, I just, I can't believe that they actually did this. But for some of you folks that didn't hear it, I'll give a quick clip on it, and then we'll go ahead and take callers and go back to the box. Because I can't believe they actually done this.
FBI agents have been fired for protesting in the wake of George Floyd's murder. ABC News has learned the group in question took part in a civil rights demonstration in Washington, D.C. in June of 2020. Photos show at least some of them kneeling. As many as 20 agents have been dismissed. A number of them worked at the Bureau's Washington field office. At least some were reassigned earlier this year.
That seems incredibly harsh. 5 years ago? Bipolar Bear says between 2019 and 2020, 20 plus U.S. citizens were deported. No protests, no riots. Between 2019 and 2022, that's all under the Biden administration, most of that is, you're saying that 20 plus U.S. citizens were deported. No protests, no riots. Probably because the people didn't know about it. My guess is, Bipolar Bear, what you're posting, because it's news to me, I haven't heard of this. 20 U.S. citizens were deported and nobody rioted and nobody protested. What was the reason given for why they were deported? I didn't hear about this. And I think, listen, I do believe that Trump gets criticized on things that maybe some other presidents would not get criticized on. Is that unfair to Trump? In some cases, yes. In some cases, no. And I'll tell you why I say that. He likes to run his mouth. He likes to run his mouth. So running your mouth sometimes, as opposed to just doing it, bragging and boasting about doing it brings on unnecessary drama. Like Obama was separating families and had people in cages, but he wasn't bragging about it. When you start bragging about it, it looks like you kind of enjoy doing it. So there's going to be a little bit of additional criticism on it because why are you enjoying doing this to people? Looking in the comments though, left is extremely violent. Period. I think if you piss off the right person, doesn't matter if they're left or right. I think both sides are extremely violent. I just do. I think both sides are extremely violent. Fuck around and find out is not a liberal term. So I believe that both sides are violent. Right now, the right doesn't have as much to be pissed off about. They have complete control of the country, and Trump is governing from a far right perspective. Let's just imagine someone was in the office that was as far to the left as Trump is currently is to the right, meaning that transgender stuff would be in schools as opposed to the Bible, abortion all the way up to the 9th month as opposed to starting to have abortion bans, let open borders as opposed to what we have now as closed borders. I think you'd have a lot more potential violence coming from the right. You don't have a reason to be violent right now. Same argument that was being made during the death of Charlie Kirk. Folks are comparing that to the death of George Floyd. See, we're not rioting, we're holding vigils. But when George Floyd was there was riots and well, if you got a president that's promising to give you the full weight of the FBI to solve the case and bring you justice, there's no reason to riot in lieu. When that happened to George Floyd, government wasn't promising shit. The people were rioting because they were demanding the government take action. Go out and arrest Derek Chauvin. You got the full weight of the FBI from Cash Patel and President Trump. J.D. Vance done went and picked up the body. What would you be rioting for? Of course you're holding vigils. You're getting everything you want. There's nothing to riot. Let me go back to the box though. If you knew, let's say what happened to Charlie Kirk happened, but you had Kamala Harris or Obama in office, and they were lollygagging on it. Everybody could clearly see an image of somebody on the roof, and they weren't doing any investigation. They were letting the case go cold. They were stalled. I bet you would have a lot more folks on the right rioting. The reason they were rioting on the George Floyd case is because the government wasn't doing shit. The government was doing everything they could in the case of Charlie Kirk. Not a lot of reason to riot for that, in my opinion. Let's continue on with the program, though. We'll go to Willard Coleman. Good evening. Welcome to the show, Willard. I think it might be our first time talking. Willard, are you there if it brings you up? We'll give it a minute. Sometimes the box can be a little bit slow there. Willard, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, good evening to you. So,
yes, sir.
Did you hear about this here where they fired these agents for taking a knee back in 2020 with the protesters?
They fired the agents.
Yeah, what brought you up? What made you come up?
Well, I was looking at I really looked at the lady talking to you like she was. And yeah. I was just wondering, what's going on, with that.
Well, we run a free speech program here, MAGA are my preferred guests, so I generally bring up MAGA when I can get them. She's not a fan of MAGA at all, and she does not like me or anybody else that gives MAGA a fair shake. So the fact that I do that often drives her insane, and I guess to some degree she sees me as a sellout for doing that.
Yeah, I don't see you as a setup. I really enjoy your program.
Thank you.
I try to catch it every time I can.
I appreciate it.
But anyway, I just come up, really, I don't know the subject matter. I don't know the subject matter right now. I was listening to try to see if it's a certain subject matter to talk on. It was something I wanted to talk to you about, but now it done slipped my mind.
Okay, well, how about this then? I'll take a couple more callers. You'll see what's going on. You can request again. I'll bring you back up.
Okay, all right.
All right, well, appreciate it. All right, moving on with the show though. Make your head Clay. I'll see what I can do. Who the hell has pictures of a felon and a transducer? What is a transducer? Who the hell has pictures of a felon and a trans? What are you saying that JD Vance or somebody's a transducer? Listen, these people are the order of the day. That's our president. That's our vice president. That's why they're up there. When Biden and Kamala Harris were the powers that be, they were up there. So it has nothing. That's all it has to do with. That is the commander in chief and the vice president. Bipolar Bear says Anwar El Awaki, a U.S. citizen, was killed by drone strikes under the Obama administration. No due process, no riots, no protests. Ask yourself, why don't you know about this? We do know about that. We've covered that many times. The thing about Anwar is that he went to a war zone and started fighting on behalf of the enemy. If Obama did not drone him and he took out some U.S. soldiers or any of our assets in the region, you'd be calling Obama weak. You would be saying Obama did not, you'd be saying Obama was treason or he let the country down, whatever. But because he did take the guy out, we're going to criticize him as well. It's kind of a double-edged sword. I mean, listen, I don't care who you are. Once you go to a war zone and you're actively trying to take out U.S. service personnel, I don't care if you're a mayor of a small American town. You qualify. You can get it. So, and I'll tell you this. If Trump took out some American fighting on behalf of ISIS in the Middle East, we would be saying, that's my president. Good job. I don't know why Obama got any criticism for that at all. You can't give somebody due process when they're actively in the process of trying to kill somebody. I mean, he's on the battlefield. So I don't even understand other than just to target Obama for that, because I'm 100% certain if Trump did the exact same thing, many of the folks that are criticizing Obama for doing it would favor Trump for doing the same thing. Hey, got to give me something better than somebody who actually went to a war zone to fight on behalf of the enemy and lost his life in the process. I just don't understand why that's even a major issue. But you're not the first to bring that up. It was brought up during Obama's term. They wanted him. What did you want him to do? We're totally okay with Trump bombing boats, and we don't even know who the inhabitants are. But we know this guy is fighting on behalf of the enemy, and that is something Obama should have been hesitant about. I don't get that one. If you fight for the enemy, you are the enemy, says Smiley. Yes, that's the way I take it. That's the way I take it. Just because you're doing it in a foreign country, I don't see how you get to escape that. To me, that guy got what he deserved. Trump killed those 11 people on the boat. We'll have to see what ends up happening. But while he's president, he's going to be treated like a hero for doing that. Like somebody says, because he's white. I'll leave it alone with that. Jeremy, good evening. Welcome to the program. Jeremy, you'd be the one to ask about this. Once the box brings up. Yeah, good evening, Jeremy.
Tim, you disappoint me. You disappoint me so dearly, my friend.
You sound like my ex-wife in court.
You should have. That's okay. Anyway, you should have let me up first. I would have gone gangster grandma all riled up.
I'm not trying to do that. I'm not, because what ends up happening is you guys are talking all over each other. The show becomes uncivilized, and that's not what we're trying to run. Listen, you can say whatever the hell you want. You can criticize me all you want, but I do prefer we have a back and forth dialogue as opposed to just talking all over me. And if you two got on together, it's not a dialogue. You guys are just flinging insults that nobody can interpret.
Yeah, that's all right. So why do you have the picture of those traitors of him in the background anyway?
Who's the traitors?
Behind you. Those FBI agents.
The FBI agents that was taking the knee. So you're saying by taking the knee in honor of to help de-escalate the situation, other protesters believe. You're saying that makes them traitors?
I'm joking about the traitors thing, but yeah, they deserve to be fired. Bye.
5 years later, though?
Don't give a fuck. You want to know why?
Why?
Because when you join the federal government, you have to remain neutral. You're not allowed to put on your uniform and take a stance in the uniform. They want to do that in their private time. I don't give a shit. Okay? But when you put on the uniform, you represent a neutral party.
Neutral. Wait, what the hell? When you look at Charlie Kirk, do you see Charlie Kirk as a neutral person?
He's not a member of the government. What are you talking about?
But the member of the government went and flew out there in Air Force Two and picked up his damn body at the taxpayer's expense.
That's not the same thing. That's
really?
A politician. Yeah, as in when you work for a government agency, you're not you. This is the same thing with the military. The military is not allowed to take a stance either. You actually give away some of your constitutional right. It's the freedom of speech when you join the military. When you join law enforcement, you have to enforce the law equally.
I don't see how you point out.
And it is considered wrong and indeed and unbecoming and to publicly take a stance and so when you wear the uniform.
Yeah, I don't see how you can. I disagree with you in suggesting that as FBI agents, you should not be biased. But it's okay for Cash Patel to take Air Force Two at taxpayers' expense to pick up Charlie Kirk's body. To me, you work for the government too as a vice president. You work for us. We don't work for you.
Yeah, but politicians are not the same thing as regular or agents of the government. Okay, when you're an agent of the government, say like an FBI agent, or you're part of the military, you take a different stance than an elected politician that literally ran on a ticket for a party. They're not the same.
I don't know if I totally agree with that.
It's how it is, dude.
Well,
you don't like it, move to another country.
The reason why I'm saying that is I tend to think that if you really look at our law enforcement, you're going to find plenty of law enforcement that are openly leaning to the right, plenty of law enforcement that are openly leaning to the left that don't get fired. I mean, I don't know why all of a sudden these folks got targeted.
If they do it in uniform and they are clearly partisan and they do it in uniform, they should be fired.
Why are they partisan?
Even if they're on the right.
How are they partisan? They took a knee to de-escalate the situation. How are they partisan?
They're clearly showing allegiance to Black Lives Matter. The knee is a clear. Come on. Are you gonna play dumb? Are you gonna play dumb?
I don't.
You gonna fluff for the left now? You know what? I see why they.
That was good.
Come on.
That was actually pretty fucking good. No, listen. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. You suggesting that it's that they are taking allegiance to Black Lives Matter. But I'm going to tell you, it's going to take a whole lot more than just a knee to do that. I mean. The problem is that they're over policing certain areas and arresting people in mass. I mean, taking a knee don't solve shit.
Oh, I'm so sick of this absolutely lobotomite take of like, I'm being over policed. I just wanted to rob in peace. Why can't you leave me alone? Oh my God. Like, seriously, enough of that shit. Okay, like over policing is such a myth in the United States. There are places where I can consider over policing to be real, like China and stuff like that, where they want to like TSA style look at your asshole to make sure you didn't smuggle anything out there. And I understand and that, but in the United States, no. You need more police and more crime-ridden areas. It's just how it is.
Well, first of all, when I say over policing, I'm talking about stuff like profiling stops and things like that. You could be in an area where there is not a lot of crime and still get profiled. That's over policing. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about just in high crime areas. You know, maybe I go to your neighborhood and the cops just don't like me there, so they're pulling me over. That's over policing. I didn't deserve that.
Say that last example again.
I said maybe I come in your neighborhood. And the cops just pull me over for just because I'm in your neighborhood. That's over policing. That may not have anything to do with it being a high crime area.
You're likely not going to get pulled over. Okay, my neighborhood is mostly.
You know what I mean, though. You know what I mean, though. I mean, America has
driving while black and all that. Yeah, no, that doesn't happen nearly as often as you think it does.
How often does it happen? How often does it happen? Since you know,
about as equal to whites. And I'm not even joking. And you want to know how I know? Look up do this on your own time, or you can do it right now if you really wanted to. Look up Roland Fryer.
I can do better than that. I can tell you this. There are several police departments.
He's an actual professor.
There are actual police departments that have admitted this happens. I mean, they're the ones out in the street doing it. They've actually admitted it. They've lost cases in court and actually admitted it that they were doing it. So I don't know who you're telling me that. What do you mean which one? Johnny Cochran made a killing. I forgot the name of the department. Connecticut, but he made a killing by proving.
Wait a minute, how long ago was that? How long are we talking? The 80s?
No, the 90s.
The 90s? That's the best you got? It's 2025, my guy.
Here's the funny part, though. You would have said it wouldn't happen in the 90s if we were having that conversation then. You would have said it wouldn't happen in the 80s.
I mean, I'm suspicious already. Okay, I'm suspicious already if it even did happen. And okay, but like, let's just say that it did. Okay. The 90s, my guy. The 90s. The 90s.
You know how many people? You know how many people that are walking around today, right now, that are still paying the price of some bullshit arrest that they suffered in the 90s? That ain't that long ago.
Where I'd say convictions are more important, and if someone's someone's wrongly convicted, then they can always go back to court and acquit it. Listen, I
can't let you get away with that, because you do realize most of the people they fuck with don't have the money and resources to go to court and do what you're making it sound like it's easy to do. That stuff costs money.
I never said. I know that stuff costs money, but you know what? There are plenty of citizen and projects out there that actually help with this kind of stuff.
No, they're not.
And here's the thing: I don't have a problem with those things.
No, they're not.
It's not.
No, it is not.
There's even one called the Innocence Project, which got a man who was guilty of multiple murders off. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He was on the guy who was on Joe Rogan.
If you knew how many tens of thousands of people are begging the Innocence Project for help every year, you would realize it ain't easy to get somebody from the Innocence Project to work with you. You realize how many applications, how many people write them asking them for help? I would say they probably take less than 1%. Because they get so many people writing them.
Tim, not only is this not to the point, but also a lot of those cases are probably rejected because they're like, yeah, you sound like you're full of shit.
A lot of them are rejected because they just don't have enough time to get around to them. No different than the public defenders you see that's in our system. They're overwhelmed, and they're actually getting paid to do it. The Innocence Project is nothing but a bunch of law school students doing it for free. They don't have time to deal with all of that stuff all like that. I mean, if you get them to get you off on a case, by the time they get you off, you usually have been fighting on that case for years. That ain't something that happens overnight.
Listen, you want to know what's my best advice for any person who's black, who's afraid of being pulled over or because they're black? Okay. Number one, just be polite. Number two, if you do get arrested, your lawyer's your friend, not the cops. That's all you got to do. It gets you off most of the time.
I don't disagree that if you, and I say this all the time, that the best defense for bad policing is to turn into a pussy. I mean, really it is. When you get pulled over, be as submissive as possible. It does reduce the chances, but it shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't have to turn into a pussy to survive.
White people have to do the same shit.
You should. Then why the hell won't they speak up too? Then
Because it's not a big deal.
No, it is a big deal. Why the hell you got to be scared of your law enforcement? It is a big deal.
Do you realize how much more scared law enforcement has to be of you? Because they've got a giant target on their back.
No, they don't. No, they don't. And
that badge is a target. No. I'm not letting you get away with this.
I disagree with you 100%.
What do you think? What do you think putting on that badge does? Do you think that makes people go like, "Oh, he's a nice guy. I'm gonna be nice to him"?
Yeah.
Come on.
I totally disagree with you, and I'll tell you why. When the police pull you over, they touch your back fender to leave their fingerprints on your car. They approach you from the back left so that they can have tactical advantage. They approach you as if they're expecting you to do something wrong with them the whole time, but they expect you to be nice and respect them and treat them like nothing may go wrong, even though there's hundreds of videos online of them doing people wrong. They want you to respect them, treat them like they're the best thing since sliced bread, when they're treating everybody they pull over like it's a potential killer. That's the problem.
Wait. Do you realize that traffic stops are some of the most dangerous things for police to do on Earth? They are.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
That's why the majority of them get shot.
I'm not disagreeing with any of that, but I'm simply saying there's a whole lot of people, though, that have been violated and or killed by law enforcement as well. Listen, look how you folks view, a lot of folks view, whether we're talking illegal immigrants, whether we're talking transgender people. If you had as many transgender on videos on YouTube violating people as you do cops, they wouldn't be safe to walk the street. There are plenty of cops on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook, either taking people's lives, beating the hell out of people that don't deserve it, all over the damn place. But yet you're told to treat the cops like they're great. And we treat the transgender like they're harmful to children, and you don't have anywhere near that much footage of them doing all that stuff. So I don't care that traffic stops are their most dangerous encounter. A lot of them are dangerous to the public.
Tim, trust me. I'm not a fan of the police either, but guess what? I'm not stupid either. And you have to be kind of disingenuous as to believe if that comparing them to trans people makes any sense. Trans people are less than 1% of the population of the United States. How many cops do you think there are?
I think that the cops are pretty.
More than trans people.
I think that the cops. They don't represent that much more of the population of the United. They're still pretty damn low. I mean, I don't. They're probably more than 1%, but they're still pretty low.
People, there are a whole lot more. There's a whole lot more cops than there are trans people, by a lot.
I'll tell you this: you could take the transgender community and the illegal immigrant community, and you still don't have as many videos as you do of cops doing bad shit to people. And now you're definitely representing a higher number.
I don't agree with that.
Okay, I'm just going to say what I said. If you had as many people representing any group that is, they have that many videos of them online for that period of time, which goes back damn near to the invention of the video camera. They've been caught doing shit to people since the invention of the video camera, and we know they were doing it before that. And yet people, well, most of them are good. We don't say that about any other group of people. If you had any other group of people that had that many videos out there, you would be like, you need to be cautious of these folks. They dangerous.
Oh, we're not going to get through this, are we? We're just going to have to agree to disagree. But so before we go, because I know you only have so little time left, I want to say when it comes to this whole mass shooting thing, the actual number of mass shootings in the United States is this year is not nearly as high as what you said it was. I'm guessing you're getting that from like massshootingtracker.com or something like that.
Well, what is your definition of a mass shooting?
A mass shooting has to be at least 3 or more people shot in a short period of time in one location and intentionally.
Yeah, I got 4 or more people shot, and a shooter is not included in that. And I got multiple sites. In fact, the site I looked at today said 320, but I got another site I looked at a few weeks ago, and it was at 280. So I don't know. I mean,
yeah, that's preposterous. I'd really like to see like the actual methodology that was used, because that's absolutely preposterous.
Well, it's exactly what Charlie Kirk said before he got shot by a bullet. Are we talking about gang violence? Because there are plenty of gangbangers that do it. So if you took Charlie Kirk's way of looking at it, that's probably what's being factored in, is gangbangers doing it as well.
Even then, I still feel that's preposterous.
I don't think so.
And here's something you're not going to want to hear. Gun control wouldn't have stopped any of them.
Are you crazy? Are you crazy?
No, I'm right. I'm right. Like I'm giving your next guest all the fuel in the world to get angry, but I'm right as well. No. Like
I'll tell you, the reason why I'm gonna tell you you're wrong is that if you took most mass shooters 2 seconds before they pulled the trigger, snapped your fingers and took the gun out of their hand and says, you can find anything else you want, go ahead and commit the crime, most of them would not be able to do it. It's going to be a lot more difficult to commit that type of crime without a firearm. I mean, you can try a bomb, you can try a car, you can use a crossbow. It's going to be a lot harder to do that if you don't have a gun doing it with.
Number 1, Molotov cocktails are easier than guns. Number two, no, I'm not letting you get away with this. Number 2, Tim, okay? When you actually look at it, gun control wouldn't have stopped any of those people from getting firearms. It's not how it works.
Yeah, and I disagree with that because I think that they always say, well, if you ban guns, only criminals will have guns. Fact is, the only way the criminals, the primary source for criminals are people like you and me who leave your gun in your car, you leave it in the house unsecure, whatever. If the citizens did not have firearms, it would become much, much harder for the criminals to get them, because that's where they're getting them from. The overwhelming majority of them are not smuggling it in from another country. They're getting them from you and me. They're either finding them by you leaving it somewhere, you're losing it, you moved and you left. They're either finding it, they're stealing it, where they break in your house and take it, or they're buying them from legal gun owners. A lot of legal gun owners will go and purchase weapons and then sell them to the black market. But that's where most of the illegal guns come from. They're buying them or stealing them.
The majority of them do not sell to the black market. The majority of them are stolen. That is the illegal firearms that you're talking about. Most of them are stolen, but there's a huge rising amount of them that are 3D printed. And even before that, you could absolutely get ghost firearms very, very easily on the streets of LA and plenty of other places.
I have not heard them.
It's not hard to build these things.
Okay, I get that, but I have not heard the police suggest that any I mean, how often do you hear the police say that, the killer had a printed gun to commit a mass shooting? When was the last time you heard of a mass shooting where the police said the person had a printed weapon? It's too easy to get them legally. It's too easy to get them legally to go through all that.
Yeah, and then and if you restrict their ability to get them legally, they'll just get them illegally.
Yeah, but that's your answer on the right to every damn thing. If we give a woman food stamps, she'll just have more kids. If you do this, I mean, you got to try something. I mean, everything you come up with, you got a counterpoint. So the end result is, well, let's just do nothing and keep the status quo. Everything that's presented to you.
No, that's a false dichotomy.
Okay. Your side says it's mental health. What the hell is your side doing about mental health?
Number one, we're trying to reopen asylums. One of the few things I actually like about Trump is something like that. But number two, there's also a huge cultural problem in the United States. Okay? First off, there are plenty of countries that have plenty of firearms where this doesn't happen. Clearly, the firearm doesn't, and it starts talking to you, be like, slaughter the children, and you hold me, you must wield me. It's not how it works. The gun can't talk to you. It's not how it works. Okay, let's go back to reality.
Well, based on that argument, that guns don't kill people, people kill people, I always bring up drugs don't kill people either. People using drugs irresponsibly kills people. So based on that argument, then all drugs should be legal. Because the only way they're going to kill you is for you to use them irresponsibly. Just like the gun argument, right?
Actually, drugs usually have chemical hooks that guns don't. It's a mechanical object versus something that actually has a chemical hook that you can prove in science.
No, there are plenty of people that have used coke responsibly and lived to be just. I mean, I'm just simply saying. Think about how much Hollywood has used coke, and many of them have went on to live a full life. So as long as you use it responsibly, you'll be okay.
Trust me, they're not. They're usually dependent on it, and they usually end up writing books about it. They're like getting sober with Gwyneth Paltrow, something like that.
I'm just simply saying, just like with guns, if you use it responsibly, certainly marijuana is absolutely one of those. Marijuana should have never been illegal based on what you're saying, because if you use it,
I actually agree with marijuana because I think it should have the same rules as alcohol.
Well, I think alcohol is far more dangerous than marijuana. But I do got to move it on. Somebody says, please stop, Mr. Know-It-All. I think Steven has a problem with what you're saying, but I got to move it on.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Not to be your favorite guest.
Pleasure talking to you, man. I'll leave it at
Bye,
that.
Jim.
Thanks. Good talk. Which kills more Americans, fentanyl or terrorists? Bipolar Bear, that's a good question. Okay, he said, which one kills more Americans, fentanyl or terrorists? The problem is, we can define properly what fentanyl is. We cannot define what terrorist is. So it's hard to answer that question because, in my opinion, I don't think we properly label terrorists in this country. I mean, listen, I'm going to get some folks that are going to push back on this, particularly some of my beloved MAGA, but I don't understand how Antifa made the terrorist list and the KKK and some of these white supremacist groups didn't. So we can see what fentanyl does, but we're picking and choosing who terrorists are based on who we don't like. That makes no sense to me. Right now, what they're doing in Gaza, Israelis are terrorists. They're not defending themselves at this point. What they're doing, bombing tents and shit, bombing hospitals and the media, what they're doing should qualify as terrorism. We just don't want to call them terrorists. Just like I said, we're calling Antifa terrorists, but some of these hate groups running around, certainly the KKK, which has a history of actually terrorizing people, hanging around polling places, bombing churches, literally lynching people, never been referred to as a terrorist group in America. They've never made the list. So I don't know how to answer that question of which one kills more fentanyl or terrorists, because I don't think that the terrorism question is properly defined. I think the way we do it, there's a whole lot of groups that should be qualified as terrorists that are not making a list. Because the convict in chief can't stand opposition. Yeah, and I don't like that either. Is that if you don't like a certain group of people, you can just deem them as a terrorist outfit. I just don't see enough from Antifa, in my opinion, for them to make the list. I just don't. They did a poll, which is terrible because polls are nothing but an educated guess. Okay, I don't know what you mean by it. Jerusalem is the place of Jesus. Don't let Hamas lie to you. Listen, I'm not going to go into the religious portion of it, but I'm just going to simply say what they're doing in Gaza right now is not self-defense. I mean, you got Netanyahu on the world stage still talking about October 7th. You've gotten more than enough revenge for October 7th. For every one person that they killed on October 7th, he's killed hundreds. I think they lost 1,000 some odd people on October 7th. They've killed they're getting close to 100,000 people. I mean, it's almost like 10-1. And when is the last time you heard of an Israeli being killed in that war between Palestinians and Israelis, or between Hamas and? I mean, they're taking zero casualties, yet they're killing people every day. To me, that group should be viewed as a terror group at this point. The whole world, with the exception of America, now views them as perpetrators of genocide. The whole world does. I think last I heard it was 150 nations are now recognizing, which is nothing more than a tribute, but they're recognizing a Palestinian state. America, I think, is like one of the only countries that doesn't at this point. We're kind of alone on that. Anyway, look in the comments. Take your Tylenol, Democrats. Don't forget. I don't have a problem taking Tylenol. I think that if you listen to Kennedy with no medical credentials, you might need to take some Tylenol in the future. We'll continue on with the program. One of my subscribers there, King Finn. Palestine should not be a state. Sorry. Okay. Wow. They were a state before the Israelis got there. King Finn.
The amount of Cheeto dust that is on your damn chest right now.
What the fuck did I do?
Your damn chest need to cave in. You let that motherfucker sit up here saying all of that dumbass shit as a fucking fourth grader with a third grade fucking education, and you know damn well that dumb motherfucker don't know what he's talking about. None of his views matter. Who the fuck cares? Man, go work your fucking mediocre job and touch your kid later. Fuck out of here. Ain't nobody trying to hear that shit out of that weak-hearted ass motherfucker. You ain't even strong enough to say you MAGA. They will reject your ass for that.
Well, first of all, you're talking about my last caller, Jeremy. Jeremy has now admitted he's not happy with Trump with a number of issues. He's not MAGA. He's a Republican. He leans right, but he's not MAGA.
Tim, guess what? I don't give a fuck.
Then what are you getting at?
It's like when The Rock said, "Hey, what's your name?" It doesn't matter what your name is. Fuck him and his name. Back to the real motherfuckers tonight. FBI agents being motherfucking dispatched 5 years after the fuck they took a knee. Well, I'm sorry. Black lives do matter to people. I'm sorry if you're so upset that somebody went against you, President Daddy Trump, you orange Cheeto shit tater. Who the fuck cares? Fuck you. So when the people bring the motherfucking suits against your ignorant ass for wrongful termination, you and the crazy cookie cutter Cash Patel, great job, jackass. You're costing the taxpayers another couple $1 million because you're not going to pay it, are you? Anyway, again, to the next topic, because unfortunately you were wrong in your numbers. There were actually five mass casualty events in the last 48 hours.
I said 24 hours. I said 24, though.
24, 48, it don't even fucking matter. Are you understanding that this is exactly what this piece of shit wants? This is the way he gets martial law. Crazy ass fucking white tea people run out and do ignorant shit like this, and already before they even had Mr. Sanford's fucking, excuse me, I'm not even gonna say Mr. Sanford's fucking name, he was already saying, oh yeah, he's from the left. How the fuck would you know? You haven't looked at any voter records. You didn't see if he was a registered Republican. By way, actually he was in the state of Michigan, in the county of Burton, Michigan, which is 5 fucking miles outside of fucking Flint and 3 motherfucking miles away from Grand Blanc. Yes, he was a registered Republican and known by his vehicle and his motherfucking tags to be at MAGA meetings. So before
you're talking about the guy who drove his car into the Mormon church, shot up a bunch of churchgoers, and then set it on fire.
That is correct. Yes.
Yeah, I gotta say, I did not know that Trump was rushing and calling the guy a liberal already, or whatever you're talking about.
Look on Trump. Look on Lies Social, because I'm not calling it the truth. Okay, because it's on live social already. He already came out and said, yeah, he was a radical leftist, really.
Yeah, I don't like that. I'll tell you this. One of the things that you often hear is that the rhetoric is what cost Charlie Kirk his life, coming from the left. I don't see any different with Trump jumping up and saying every violent act in America is a product of the radical left. I don't see how his rhetoric is any less harmful. I mean, if you're telling everybody that the radical left is killing people, he could end up costing lives doing it. I don't, and the thing about it is, I don't see how that benefits America at all by rushing and telling everybody the radical left is doing this, even before we even know who the people are oftentimes.
Again, I would submit to you, MAGA is not Christian. MAGA is a bunch of fucking idiots running around living an antinomian lifestyle. They don't believe that they need to atone for living moral laws. They don't believe that they should atone for those things that they're doing. Dude is not presidential. Dude ain't shit. He don't give a fuck about you. He don't give a fuck about MAGA. He don't give a fuck about his wife. Name something he's done that makes you think he gives a fuck about anything other than money and power. He's a greedy shit-tater. He's the essence of greed, the essence of envy. That's why he's on a revenge tour firing fucking FBI agents. How fucking ridiculous does that sound? You fired how many motherfucking federal employees when you did that shit with Doge? Oh, wait, where's the money from Doge? I don't know. Where did it go? Millions, billions they said they got? Where did all that money go? We'll never fucking see it. Because it never fucking existed. And if it did, it went into his shitty ass back pocket. Like I'm saying, stop believing the shit, man. This is all another ploy to keep your motherfucking mind off two things. The Epstein files, which you don't want no fucking body talking about. We don't talk about Jeffrey. We don't talk about Jeffrey. Okay? You don't want nobody talking about that. And the fact that he is setting this shit up to make it a martial fucking law so he will be able to say, no, it's too violent. We can't have a motherfucking midterm. We can't have a motherfucking another vote. So he can be a dictator. Just like Mike Johnson pulling that shit in Arizona right now with that newly elected motherfucking senator who's gonna be that 218 fucking vote to make them release them files. He's slow walking the fuck out of that shit.
So you believe that Trump is some way, somehow trying to promote civil unrest. You believe he wants us to be fighting with each other.
Yes, I do. It's just like these ignorant motherfuckers think Tim Walz said, oh yeah, told what's the guy name who ended up unaliving Sarah Hortman and Melissa Hortman and her husband? Yeah, Tim Walz said to do that. These dumb motherfuckers don't even know that the guy who did that was a registered Republican with super radical right views.
And
they don't even know that. They believe he's a leftist.
Well, I like I said, I don't like to constant talk about radical left because I don't see how it furthers the narrative. Blaming everything on let's say the left is 100% responsible for every violent act in America, which is kind of what Trump is doing. I don't see how that makes any of us benefit by telling folks that on TV all the time. Mr. Splaggerville in the comments says it seems the unsuccessful are losing their shit. What do you mean by that, Mr. Splaggerville? The unsuccessful are losing their shit. But yeah.
I'm successful because I'm talking truth to you ignorant ass motherfuckers. Okay, I'll be unsuccessful with my car, my job, my kids, my college education. I'll be unsuccessful then. At least I'm not working a $15 job like Jeremy.
I don't know why he should have never told you guys that he was dishwashing for that, because you guys will never forget that. In the comments real quick though, Matt Keating says, I feel you struggle to see anything, period. Clarify what you're talking about. I don't get what you mean there. Fact check, your shit caller Trump didn't call the shooter a radical left. So he's saying that didn't happen, that Trump did not call.
True social, that's all I gotta say. However, so I could really give less than a fuck, because if he hasn't, he's gonna anyway, and it wouldn't matter, because even when he does, they've already went to the voter rolls, they've already went to go see and recognize the fact that he's a fucking Republican. So what does that even matter? That's not even what I really came on here to say. The problem with the idea is that this shit is fucking crazy. You don't see the state of the United States. Name another fucking country that has this shit going on. This motherfucker, we went to DEFCON 3 about a week ago. Did anybody know that? Russia did a flyover of our fucking air identification. Anybody know that?
No, I didn't.
Today, Russia said if Israel, Russia said if Israel does anything else, they're gonna get in that shit.
So Russia is now promising to side on behalf of the Palestinians?
Yeah. Yes. Russia saying we gonna get in this shit if Israel bomb one more motherfucking thing.
Wow.
What do you think that's gonna do? What do you think that's gonna do? Even Russia's against us. Do you get that? Do you see the importance of how history is gonna look when they actually open the fucking history books and read the fact that this fat orange piece of shit backed Israel basically doing a G-side, and Russia was the motherfuckers who came up to the plate and said we not doing that no more.
I gotta say this though. I gotta kind of disagree with you. This is where the fluffing. You're gonna say I'm fluffing, but because you said orange piece of shit. Biden was just as complacent in helping out Netanyahu as Trump is. So you can't just. It's the United States that's backing Israel. It's not just Trump, because they were saying Genocide Joe has got to go as well. Biden wasn't doing much either on this.
You're right, and I hate that for him because I don't stick behind everything he did anyway. I didn't stick behind every single thing that Biden did, but at the same time, we didn't elect a savior. The Democrats didn't put up a savior that we thought was going to save the country. He was brought by Jesus. We picked the white dude to do the job. Did he fuck up at some shit? Yeah, he did. And we all called him out and crucified him for that shit. Just like when Al Franken, we found out Al Franken did something suspect. What did Al Franken do? He stepped the fuck down. Did anybody say, oh my God, I'm so upset. Joe did this, he did that? No, we didn't.
No. But that's the problem the Democrat Party needs to understand, is that the MAGA side of the aisle, they don't mind a flawed candidate. You know, I don't care what Trump did, became president, or they all do that, or it was locker room talk. The Democrats are going to find a perfect candidate because they got to please the feminists, they got to please the Muslims, they got to please the blacks, they got to please the Hispanics. The right is like, we don't give a damn. If Trump, he pushes back. They don't care about that.
Hold on. You're not finna push that Cheeto dust on me. Okay? You're not finna keep that. You're not finna sprinkle me with no Cheeto dust, all right?
Okay.
You miss me.
Clear me up. Help me out. What am I getting wrong?
I don't fuck with that.
Okay.
I don't give a fuck what you say. A 34-count felon, if you didn't care about a flawed candidate, then maybe you should care about the fact that he might be touching little kids. Maybe you should care about the fact that he's a fucking ignorant ass motherfucker. Maybe you should care about the fact that he was a DEI hire and the rest of his motherfucking administration are all DEI hires. Name one motherfucker with a cop.
That's not true. That's all Trump.
Yes, the fuck is.
No.
Tim, you know.
Let me cover it. Mr. Splagaville, I see you says not King. The folks doing the mass unalivers. Okay, you saying not King? I don't get what you mean, Mr. Splagaville. No, let me respond to you though, King Finn. No, I don't think. I don't think Pete Hegseth is qualified. I don't think Kennedy is qualified. However, Tom Homan is qualified. Kristi Noem is qualified for doing what she's doing. Marco Rubio is qualified for doing what he's doing. What?
No.
You don't think Marco Rubio is qualified?
No, I do not. Nope, I don't. See, here's my problem.
You just hating on the right. That's what it is. You just don't like what they're doing.
Hating on the right. Nope, we're not going to go there either because I'm not just a radical leftist. We're not going to go there.
That's what I'm hearing.
Years back, I agree with a lot of the policies that the Republicans had before they let that orange piece of shit in there. I liked John Kennedy. I was cool. Even though I didn't like the Reaganomics, I was okay with what Reagan was trying to do because he gave a fuck about the country. Both Bushes, I was cool with that shit. Even though they fucked some shit up, they took responsibility for their shit and they fucking cleaned it up. Unfortunately, we don't have the same thing happening now. Let's keep it a buck, okay? Yeah. I'm not gonna sit and watch motherfucking Fox News all day long and parrot and repeat the fucking talking points that them ignorant motherfuckers are saying. Okay? I'm not doing that.
Here's where you and I disagree. I absolutely believe there's a whole lot of people on Trump's administration that are qualified. The problem is because they're just letting Trump do whatever he wants, they're willing to circumvent their qualifications. Like, for instance, this whole thing about James Comey, the former head of the FBI, I think that the folks he have that is prosecuting Comey, they know they don't have a case, but they're doing what Trump wants them to do. He has qualified attorneys on his administration. They're just not using or doing what they were taught. They're just okay. Well, he wanted, so we're going to do this. I absolutely think Marco Rubio's qualified. I absolutely think Christie, known for what she is doing, she is qualified. Like I said, Tom Homan is probably damn near overqualified. Tom Homan is qualified, huh?
Christy knows when people from her state didn't want her to do this shit.
No.
Her whole state felt like Kennedy's family. They didn't want her to run for that shit. For what? That bitch didn't know what she was doing. They knew that. I'm not going to go there with you. Tom, I give you a little bit of credit. He might possibly be qualified, but no.
We got the most secure border in history. You gonna tell me Christy Nome and Tom Homan ain't doing a good job?
Explain this to me. Is that the only fucking border? And I get really fucking sick of everybody talking about this illegal immigrant bullshit. Bitch, y'all ain't fucking legal. Name me one of you motherfuckers who's okay with the motherfucking Native Americans getting slaughtered in the Trail of Tears, and how the fuck y'all illegal in a country that don't fucking belong to you.
I can't. I'm not going to go back and rehash American history. I get what you're saying. The Native Americans own the country, but look, there was a war. They lost the country. This is what happens. But what I'm simply saying is, when you look at how the border was under Biden compared to how the border is under Trump, I get you talking about there's two borders. There's a northern border as well. But when you look at how secure the border is, or how many people are coming in this country, or how many illegal aliens are coming in this country now, or how many people that are here illegally that are being deported, there's no argument. Trump, his administration under Holman and Christie Nome are doing significantly better than Biden was.
No, they're not. Their numbers aren't the same. Obama had better numbers. And he was doing it the right way.
I'm talking about under Biden. We're talking about compared to the last administration. He's doing a great job compared to Biden.
I still think the numbers are a hell of a lot better on Biden's side. But that's neither here nor there. Because the simple difference in the two things is they're not detaining most of them in fucking holding cells and making them disappear. Because in Florida the other day, 1,600 quote unquote illegal aliens just disappeared off the face of the earth and nobody knew where the fuck they went. Did you know about that?
Yeah, I'm not saying they doing it all the right way. I'm just simply saying they doing it.
So what? Ain't MAGA the party to do it the right way? They got to do it the right way. How about you do something the right way, you antinomian motherfuckers? Figure that shit out.
I'll leave it at that. King Finn, and I do agree with that part. You can't tell people to do shit the right way, and then all of a sudden it's your turn and you do it the wrong way. King, I got to move it on. Thank you for coming through.
Peace.
Appreciate it.
No fluffing.
No fluffing. I heard that. But Biden wasn't cruel to immigrants, says Cool Head. Yeah, I don't favor being cruel to the immigrants, but the counter argument is going to be if you break the law, the chances of law enforcement being nice to you is pretty low. I mean, you could break the law in America and get arrested and face cruelty, even if you're in jail just overnight. I mean, the way you get treated while incarcerated is not good. It's just the way it is. I mean, that's the way the system is. Now, there are countries out there that don't treat you like shit while incarcerated, but America's not one of those countries. We treat our own citizens like shit when they're incarcerated. We are a harsh country. We are a very vengeful nation. We don't just incarcerate you. We want you to have a bad stay while you're in there. That's just the way we do things. So, I do agree, though. The Trump administration seems to revel in the cruelty. They seem to really like doing it, and MAGA seems to really like seeing it. Joking about alligators eating people and drowning machines in the Rio Grande. They kind of like that stuff. I don't understand that. I don't know why, and I'll just leave it at that. It's more illegals here on expired visas than border crossing. That's 100% true. In fact, I would submit to you a large portion of the people that are being deported were not here illegally at all. When he got rid of temporary protected status and revoked all of the asylum seekers, they all suddenly became fugitives. But all of them folks, the day before Trump did that, they were all here legally. If you came here and was seeking asylum, you had a pending case coming up. You had a legal right to be here until that case came up, and then they deemed you didn't have no right to be here. That's the way it's always been. Same thing with TPS status, temporary protected status. whether you came from Cuba, whether you came from Haiti or whatever, there was a way to come here from those countries, and you would have what's called temporary protected status. It would last for a certain period of time. Maybe you could then try to convert it to somehow get a green card and go on and get citizenship. When Trump became president, he just ended TPS flat out for a host of countries. So all of them folks that were legally here suddenly became fugitives. And then folks were getting rounded up, and people were like, well, see, you should want them gone. They're criminals. He wasn't a criminal yesterday. He's a criminal today because Trump changed the law. This guy's not a criminal. Well, you know, they're all criminals because they broke the law by coming here illegally. No, he didn't come here illegally. He came here what was the right way when he came here, and that way does not exist anymore. And Trump has made the way he came here now criminal. So he wasn't a criminal. And a lot of folks are like that. They're not here illegally. But when you see them rounding folks up, that's the first thing people think is, well, they're all criminals because, you know, coming here illegally is the crime you committed. So they're all criminal. They're not all criminal. Looking in the comments, though, somebody says bigots. See, if your job is in danger of being taken by someone undocumented, you're not trying hard enough. He says, if your job is in danger of being taken by an undocumented immigrant, then you yourself are not trying hard enough at your job. I don't know about that. Depends on what the job is. Depends on what the job is, because there are a lot of employers that would just rather pay somebody less than pay somebody a decent wage that works hard. All jobs don't require, somebody that is very knowledgeable. Maybe you're just customer service or something like that. They would rather pay less. So in some cases, your job may be in danger simply because your employer wants to pay somebody under the table. Real quick in the comments before we continue on, tap the screen. I haven't asked that all night tonight. Tap the screen, get us on up to 30,000 to help out the program. You know how we run this. We don't block, ban, or censor anyone for their commentary. We are MAGA friendly. We always have been MAGA friendly. We always will be MAGA friendly. MAGA are my preferred guests. Nevertheless, we do get more liberals now because Trump is in the hot seat as our president. But when Biden was in the hot seat and was getting criticized all the time, I had more MAGA. That's how the program works. But we don't censor anyone for their speech, whether you lean left or right. I always say we go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q. If you enjoy uncensored dialogue from all sides of the aisle, I ask that you take this time out. Give your boy a subscription if you're watching on YouTube. Follow the program if you're watching on TikTok. Raise the minimum wage, says, I can't pronounce the name, Neo or something like that. The right is not a fan of raising the minimum wage. The right side of the aisle has never been a fan of raising the minimum wage. So that may be a challenge to get done. I was going to Magari X. I guess he dropped. We'll continue on though with Politicamente. What does that say? Sincerely political. Is that what I'm reading? Good evening.
Yeah. Good evening. How you doing, man?
I'm doing
sincere political. Yeah.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Politically sincere. You can
Politically sincere. So what brought you on? What am I getting wrong this evening?
Hey, no, listen, I am MAGA, and when it comes to immigration, it is... What was that?
No, you are MAGA. Now, are you Hispanic?
Oh, you're late in my sound. What's going on? You are MAGA. Now, are you Hispanic?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm Spanish, yes.
Okay, I'm trying to make sure I can hear you. Okay, can you hear me okay now? Was a delay at first?
Now, yes, yeah, now it's good.
Okay, so you're Hispanic. What's your ancestry? What country your ancestry?
Dominican Republic.
Dominican Republic. Okay, so now you're MAGA. You see Trump 8 months, almost 9 months in. You think he's doing a good job? We lost the guest. Political sincere. Come back up. I'm always curious to hear from MAGA, Hispanics that are MAGA, certainly this late in the game. So I would like to hear more from you. Come back up if you will. MAGA all day, says Marlene. Okay, fair enough. We'll go back to the box. I don't know what happened to my last guest. We'll try it again. I think he's there. Sincerely political, sincere. Okay, can you hear me now?
Politically sincere, sorry.
Okay. Now,
I support Trump because if I can give you an example of why we're Latinos support Trump, especially with this immigration stuff, a lot of us have kids here. They're Americans, and and they are more Americans than us in the way that they were born here, rather than me. I was born abroad, and they also have to look for a job. And I'm gonna tell you this from experience: there are jobs that only hire illegals. There are jobs like that, and that works because, for example, a boss, if they hire an American, the American can end up snitching on the job because there's illegality to it. There's IRS problems sometimes on that end as well, and I can tell you from experience that I know Americans who have snitched on IRS, on ICE, on illegal immigrants. So when a boss, especially if they say they're Indian or they're white or they're black, they have nothing to do with their race or with their language, they like to just stick it to one kind, so that it doesn't become like a problem inside. So what happens is that, for example, and she's gonna speak less English than me. Less Spanish than me. More American. She was born here, and she looks for a job, and then she doesn't get that job because they only want illegals there. They don't have, as I told you already, what I'm telling you. Well, that's not fair. And in some places in America, you have towns that only have like one pizzeria. You have towns that only have like one big plant. And in that environment, the answer can be like, oh, well, you just go ahead and, like the previous call.
How about this though?
Better.
But how about this? In my comments, Pop Sosa says, referring to you, he says this guy doesn't realize Trump doesn't think his kids are American. He's saying that Trump, even though your child was born here, he's saying that Trump does not even think your children are Americans.
No, because I'm legal here. Trump is not saying that like if you are not a citizen, then he's not saying that. That's a different argument with the 14th Amendment. I think there's room for the judges to debate that. I understand that the 14th Amendment was something made during the Reconstruction era, and what they were thinking was about the newly free people who were slaves for hundreds of years. And
let me ask you this way. Now, when did you come to America? You were not born here, right?
No, I came when I was 7 years old.
Legally?
No, I actually came illegally.
Okay, and when did you become legal?
Me, when I was 23. I went back to my country and I came the right way.
How old were you when you had your child?
24, yeah.
Okay, so you had just became legal a year before your child was born.
Yeah, but I left the country for 3 years and a half, so my sympathy is not going to be there for illegals. Like, if they just don't like it here, whatever, they can just bounce like I did. And I came the legal way. It took me 3 years to come here the legal way and just wait my turn.
Yeah, but you do realize for most people, coming here in 3 years is super quick. Most of them can't, even in 3 years, that's a very short time for me. It usually takes longer than that.
Yeah, but as I was saying, I think that let's say you have a lot of love for the Spanish community and you care a lot about the immigrants, and let's care about the people that are born here and they are the kids of immigrants. A lot of times, handsome liberal, we care more about our kids than ourselves, and we find happiness in their happiness. And a lot of us, we say, and it's a funny thing, like a lot of Latinos that they're like illegal or they are very attached to somebody who is, they can be anti-Trump. But as soon as you are involved in the American life, and you also have to deal with those people, you can then quickly change your mind. I lived in Queens for a while, and I saw it. I won't be lying about it. I saw it in my eyes. They were giving free hotels to Venezuelan citizens and other citizens as well.
Yeah, but you do know the reason why they were doing that is because people from your party, Texas Governor Greg Abbott, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, was deliberately busing all of them people, trying to flood those cities out. That's why, because if the illegals came in this country and they had their choice of where they were going to run and hide, they would go all over the damn place. But it was the Texas governor that was trying to make a point by flooding out Chicago and flooding out New York with immigrants. That's why they were giving them hotels and things like that, because they were getting overwhelmed by what they were doing from your side.
You know that there are two sides, liberals and conservative, but they also have their regions and the way of being. And in New York City, the liberals are very pro-immigrant and very pro-illegal. And the language and attitude of the mayor, I don't know if you heard that the mayor just dropped out, by the way.
I heard about it.
But Mayor Adams had an attitude of smiling, of saying, he even said, "Give me your pork, give me your," what is the quote?
What's on give me your territory, where your port, the same quote that's on the Statue of Liberty. So if you're saying the liberals are pro-immigrant, what are you saying the right is anti-immigrant?
The right is come the right way. Come the right way, and also not caring about that topic so much.
Yeah, but they're saying
you don't care about something doesn't mean you're against it.
Yeah, but
right?
do you realize? Yeah, they are against it. Do you realize they're not only saying come the right way, but they're making it harder to come the right way?
By how? How are they doing?
The H-1B visa just went up by 100,000. They've limited how many people can come in through other legitimate means. They're making it harder to do that. They're saying come the right way, but the asylum cases, which
Yeah.
coming and seeking asylum was a right way to come here. They've all but eliminated your right to come here via asylum. You can't even do that anymore. Same thing with temporary protected status. The Haitians and the people from Cuba, that was coming here the right way. They got rid of that.
The city that I live in Newark, New Jersey. There is a plan here. Like they have like a freezer plan. I don't know what they really do there, but there are people working there and they deposit like cold stuff. I don't know what they have, but it's like a big plant. And they were hiring a lot of illegals through an outside agency. So like the company will hire an agency and say, find me temporary workers, and the agency will hire the illegals. Like that, it will be like, we didn't do that.
But that ain't got nothing to do with what I just said, though. That ain't got nothing. What I said is they said come the right way, and they're making it harder to do that.
But I'll connect it because what I'm doing is that I see that, but I'm seeing who I see suffering here are people who are not here yet. So who's suffering on that? Somebody in Colombia? Oh, poor Colombian guy. But look at the poor person in New York. Poor. Let's talk about the people that live in New York. They were hiring people illegally and paying them $14 an hour in Newark, New Jersey. But an African American born here, his parents, he comes from slavery, like his great grandparents. He's not gonna, he doesn't deserve $14. We have fought for stuff, man. Come on. He doesn't have to leave New York.
Now you're
he
talking
deserves to stay here.
Yeah, but now you're talking about.
As soon as January, they stopped hiring that agency. You know what they did in that company? They're paying $19 an hour now. And that is more decent.
Yeah,
and
but you're talking about but even when you talk about salaries, your side is against a minimum wage increase. You're getting rid of unions. So even the Americans that are trying to get a higher salary, some of the things you guys are doing is not commiserate for that happening. Go ahead. Because what?
Because you know what it is? It's like for example, in Sioux City, you know, Sioux City, Iowa.
Yeah. What about
in the border, the town called South Sioux City, in the side of Nebraska, and their minimum wage like 6 years ago must have been like $8. And the meat plant of Tyson Meat Plant, they were paying $17 an hour for you to start in anything. You have states that don't want to raise the minimum wage. But in the end, the market is going to decide that. It's going to decide that in the end.
I don't know why. I don't.
But
I
you
don't
could
get
go
that.
to the meat plant in Dallas and Tyson. They'll pay you $9 an hour.
Yeah, I disagree. I disagree with that free market. I'll give you an example. Right now, people are not going to Vegas. In addition to the international travelers that are not going there, a lot of Americans are not going to Vegas, and their chief complaint is because stuff is starting to cost too high. There are resort fees and things like that. That's the free market. Everybody keeps talking about we want capitalism and let the free market decide, but then when the free market does something they don't like, they speak out against it. The reason minimum wage is so damn low in most places is because we let the free market decide. We took the government out of it. The government was not forced to give minimum wage increases. We let the free market decide. And the free market decided, well, shit, we ain't gonna never give it to you. It took for the pandemic to happen where people weren't coming to work before minimum wage started going up. So I don't buy that everything's going to be better if you let the free market decide.
The topic of minimum wage, I understand, but when we stick it to that, a young African American living in Newark, New Jersey, and his salary just got up to $19 an hour. He's saying, now I'm going to actually do it. I'm going to go and get him with that job. And you know what also happened on Liberal in like Queens and also in New York, the place that I know the most? Rent has gone down. Like, for example, I follow this person on Instagram who like rented me a room for a while when I got separated, and she keeps posting the rooms. Man, they got way down. And even like studios in Queens have gone down. No, and let me tell you this. She is in the Spanish community rent environment. You know, like I wouldn't argue that like the rent of like downtown Manhattan and like Upper East Side, like that went down. I don't know nothing about that.
I'm from the south side of Chicago. I'm from the south side of Chicago. I'm talking about in the hood. That ain't happening.
Just looking at the logic of demand,
Yeah,
if more people get
I
deported that
don't.
live in Queens, New York, rent is gonna go down.
Yeah,
Handsome
I
living.
don't.
That's what's happen.
I
wouldn't lie
gotta
about
disagree
that.
with that. I gotta disagree with
I
that.
wouldn't lie about that.
I'm not saying you're lying about it.
I
I
would
think
never
you're
say.
picking. Hold on, hang on, hold on. We gotta have a conversation, man. You're just going on and on. What I'm saying is, I'm from the south side of Chicago. There's a huge Hispanic community there. Rents are not going down in Chicago. I don't know. Maybe some neighborhood you're picking, it may be happening, but that's an outlier. That ain't the norm. I'm not seeing. California has a ton of Hispanics that are getting deported. I'm not hearing that rents is going down in California. I mean, so maybe in that area you're talking about it might be happening, but that's not the norm.
That is correct, and there are different reasons why, when it comes to immigration, somebody will support Trump. In the specific matter of somebody living in Corona, Queens, which is mostly undocumented aliens, if they're getting heavily deported, the rent's gonna go down. Even like prostitution in Roosevelt Avenue under the 7 train has gone significantly down, and that is better for the kids. So now we're seeing in panties and Transformers also they're showing their body parts in the morning, and that's what we're talking about, and that's what we wanted in our communities. But different communities are going to be affected in different ways.
You want to deport your Hispanic neighbors so rents can go down? Is that so? The main thing you're seeing by Trump's deportation is jobs are going to be available for Americans and rents are going. You're seeing it purely on a financial ploy.
In those specific neighborhoods, that thing is going to happen. And when I talk to people who are not like you know, you're very erudite and you know about politics, but let's say just a regular friend of mine who's African American or Puerto Rican in Newark, New Jersey, or Queens, they're going to say, thank God that they raised that salary, man, because I'm going to be able to make ends meet. And it's sad that maybe you don't care about them, handsome living.
I don't believe it's going to happen.
But I do. Hey, they're getting paid $19 an hour.
I'll tell you why I say that. There are plenty of places you go in the rural South where they're not getting paid shit, and they don't have a major problem with illegals. I mean, the corporations ain't gonna pay you. They will pay Americans like shit too if they can get away with it. So the whole notion that if you get rid of illegals, Americans are going to make better salaries, I just don't buy it. I just do not believe that. I believe they will find a way to pay American citizens like shit too. I don't believe they're going to pay more if they do.
There is that fight. People are not looking out to give out good salaries. But when you don't have a choice and you have to paint the house, I know a friend of mine who did time in Connecticut, in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and he came out and he said, I'll get something. I will get a job painting or something. But the jobs are very low. And I know my undocumented friends, I have friends who are undocumented, they do it for very low. Handsome liberal. You come from a shitty country like Honduras or my country, the Dominican Republic, and you come here and you'll take what you can get. You're happy to be in the room. You're happy to be in America. America's a great country, handsome liberal. So you're happy to be there. But somebody who's born here, did their time in prison, and they come out, they have a record, and they say, God damn it, maybe I'll go out there and I'll start painting houses. You know, and then it's like, what, $14 an hour? And you see the difference. If they move to a place where there are less illegal immigrants, they will get offered a better job. They will get offered better pay.
Do you also support possibly deporting people to Africa and some of the El Salvadoran deportation? You support that?
Well, I don't understand what you mean.
When he was deporting people to prison in El Salvador, and now he's talking about deporting people to Africa. Do you support that?
That did a great service to put fear on people. Of like, maybe before you come here and you just come illegally, look what they can do to you. Look what they can end up doing to you.
So you supported that?
That wasn't okay, but with the specific case of like Cuba and Venezuela, I actually agree with it. Cuba and Venezuela don't accept deportees. So for example, handsome liberal, if you are a Venezuelan national and you go to prison for 5 years and you come out, Venezuela just doesn't take you in. They just don't take you in. And you can Google it if you want to verify what I'm telling you. The process of deportation has to be agreed upon. You cannot just fly a plane to Caracas with 10 people. They will shoot you down.
Yeah, I get it. I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm saying
those people, they should get deported to Africa so that they learn the lesson. Like, hey, listen, we cannot deport you to Venezuela. We'll deport you to Africa because you are hijacking us. Venezuela. How
are you being hijacked?
Well, because for example, wouldn't you agree, handsome liberal, that if somebody commits a heinous crime and go to prison for 10 years and they're illegal, they should get deported, right? We agree on that one, right?
Well, let's first make something clear. Everybody that's deporting like this did not commit heinous crimes. Most of the people they're deporting are not people that have committed. You're using an extreme example to get me to agree with you. I do agree if the guy that went out and murdered a bunch of people, but that's not. Hold on. Here's a good example. Kilmar Abrego Garcia, that guy they want to deport to Africa. He hasn't committed any heinous crimes. He hasn't been convicted of anything.
Yeah, but with those people, it still serves something. It was to put fear on people.
So you support deporting Kilmar Abrego Garcia that has no crimes on his rap sheet to Africa to scare other people.
There has to be a little bit of that, handsome liberal.
Innocent people.
So that the 20-year-old that lives in Newark, New Jersey can get paid $19, not $14.
Innocent people. You're gonna make a point by using innocent people to do it with.
That African American lives in New York is an innocent person too, and this is his country.
What happened to all of these bad hombres? They're sitting nothing but rapists and murder. Why do you need to use an innocent person? If there's so many rapists, why not use the real bad people? Why do you got to use people like him where he has nothing on his rap sheet to make a point? If there's so many bad people coming.
Yeah, I actually don't know in particular of the case. That's the only thing.
You're talking about immigration, and you don't know nothing about Kilmar Abrego Garcia.
I don't know every particular of that specific case.
That's like the Elian Gonzalez of our era. You don't know about the Kilmar Abrego Garcia case, really?
I don't know as much, but that's the thing, handsome liberal, that I'm not gonna laugh on you because let's say that you don't know. The Spanish community also, a lot of us agreed on this, and our community have gotten safer because of this. Handsome liberal, when a person goes to prison here and they come out of prison, they can vote in some states. They can sometimes get a job. You cannot just have people coming over from Honduras who we don't know what the hell they were doing over there and what kind of crime.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Just come here and come in.
I agree
because
with
there will be a disrespect to every Latino, African American, white American who did 5 years in prison and says, "Can I flip burgers?" They go like, "No, you can't flip burgers. You have a record. We don't want your kind here." That's messed up. You can't be jumping processes.
I agree. Here's the problem. I agree with you when you use those extreme examples. People don't got out of prison and things like that. But if you got somebody that's been here, since the 1980s, and she don't raise a family and she has nothing else on her rap sheet, that's not an extreme example, and them folks are getting kicked out. Same thing with the TPS stat, like the Haitians that are working in Springfield. They were invited to work here, and all of a sudden now Trump wants to kick them out. They're not committing crimes. They don't fit any of the narrative you're mentioning. In fact, the company in Springfield said they were having a hard time hiring people, so they wanted to let the Haitians come in. What the stuff you're saying does not fit that narrative at all, yet Trump wants to kick them out.
And all this thing that has happened with the Democrats letting so many in cases some Republicans. I spoke about the African American or the Puerto Rican who is suffering here. The illegal immigrants suffer a lot too. They suffer because they are brought in by people, and sometimes they're treated as slaves. They get paid very little, and corporations benefit a lot.
Would they be better off? If they stay behind? Would they be better off if they just stayed at home?
Those people that are here legally?
Yeah.
Maybe not, but we have to take care of our own.
In other words, we don't care about them.
We care about them, but remember also that if we are to give an opinion about Honduras, what are they gonna say?
Wait a minute.
America, for example, you did a segment, because I watch you all the time, man. You did a segment all the time about America intervention in Venezuela when they were down in the South Caribbean. And you make a good point. You're like, okay, listen, Venezuelan autonomy is a country. We cannot do whatever we want in their country. They cannot do whatever they want in our country.
We're down in their country doing it now. We're blowing up boats off the coast of Venezuela. We're doing it right now.
Right. So if the liberals are always preaching for the independence and autonomy of these third world countries, well, let's do it for ourselves too. And so we only got one country here. You only have one country. If this country goes down the shit, people who have double citizenship, they can bounce to their country.
Right.
African Americans, white Americans, they have one American. That's all they have. It's not a crime to protect them like their only baby. And we can't allow many to come. Handsome liberal, even though I come from the Dominican Republic, I went back as a grown man. And I tell you this, it's not that bad to the point where I'm gonna be like coming here.
Yeah, but you're talking about the Dominican Republic. You're not talking Haiti. You're not talking Cuba. You're not talking Peru or Guatemala or Nicaragua. You're talking the Dominican Republic. That country is a developing country. It's higher up than those other countries.
Well, then we can talk about how Haitians cannot then migrate to another country, or how they should better their country. People, listen. This country was built on people even having to be drafted to go to war.
This country was also built on fucking a lot of those other countries up. Just about every hold on, let me hear me out.
No.
Just about every country that is impoverished, that is either in the Caribbean or that is south of the border, if that country is dirt poor, there's some American influence in that. American, some way, somehow, the West was involved in that. Obviously, Haiti, we were deeply involved in that. So most of those countries are not just suffering because the people of that country poorly ran it. A lot of times it's us. We don't went over there and exploited people, took their resources, created wars, put in leaders that we liked, staged coups. America's involved in all of that shit.
I recognize that, but then I can give you one, you can give me one. But I think if we look at the bigger picture and we just name a bunch of them, Panama is the most. Panama has the GDP per capita the highest in Latin America. A country that was in the early 1990s, military intervened. We went in there, and the president had to hide in the Vatican, in the consulate for the Vatican. And we went in there. Remember back in those days, and we put like the big speakers, and we drew him out. We sent military to Panama in 1991, I think, 1989, right? And that's the most developed country. In Dominican Republic, they went in 1965, and Dominican Republic has one of the highest per capita now. It wasn't like that before. And it's getting better.
But notice what I said. Notice what I said, though. You notice Canada ain't been in all of those countries, but America has.
Yeah, and those countries have gone a better way.
No, not all of them.
America hasn't intervened in Bolivia, and that's one of the most poor countries in Latin America.
Who do you think is buying all their drugs in Bolivia? Who do you think they're selling most of that shit to?
Listen, we're not gonna blame people who went to Vietnam and other wars like Iraq, and they're missing a leg. They were stuck in opioids, and then they come back, and now they're doing those stuff.
I'm just simply saying.
People that I know that use drugs, they did it because they went to Vietnam, because they went to Iraq.
Yeah, I do got to move it on. I do got to move it on, but I'm just simply saying the cartel and the drug trade is the reason that they have a lot of problems in a lot of those countries, and the number one customer for that shit is us. We are the ones that is keeping those cartels wealthy and armed. They're getting all that from us. If you took America out of the equation, a lot of the cartels would disappear. They're getting it from us. Last word on you.
Thank you so much. Look, when we look at Japan became a very developed country, and now it has a lot of problems in the last 20 years. It can be a high developed economy. Also, South Korea. Also, although Germany already has and South Korea was nothing for. We went in there, and look at Germany, look at Panama, look at the Dominican Republic. They're not rich country, but within their region, they're doing better than the rest. America is good for the world. America, we have to protect it because it's our only country. But I think we should let people come in, and there are ways. Hey, get married with a citizen. Hey, get a degree and apply for one of those visas, the lottery visa. And also try a different country too. Go to England, go somewhere else. America's great, but how can we make Haiti better if everybody who's great in Haiti just wants to come here? People have to fight. Like your parents probably went to a war. If they didn't, I don't know. People got drafted back in those days. This country is great, handsomely, because of your parents and your great grandparents. Other people cannot just jump in whenever they want to. Let them apply. Let them qualify for it. We still have the lottery visa, and you can apply for that. You can apply for the lottery, and you can come in with a lottery. You can Google if you don't believe it. Thank you, handsome level.
Anytime. Appreciate it.
I love your channel. It's awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate the support. Tune in anytime, man. Thank you. My door's always open to you. All right, moving on with the program. Joe Shalom. Now, I always enjoy getting callers like that. I like to get Black MAGA, Hispanic MAGA. We don't get them as much, so I'm going to certainly give those type of callers preferential treatment. I want to hear from them because it does seem to be a shock to the system. Certainly right now what you're seeing going on with ICE and with the Hispanic community all over the country. So it always is a shock to the system to get a Hispanic this late in the game that is as adamant or as strong for MAGA as my last caller is. So I do like to hear from him. Somebody in the comments says he was a disgrace. Who's Oh my God. What do you mean he was a disgrace? First all right, tap the screen. Get the. I haven't been asking you guys to do this. Tap the screen. Get the lights up to 40,000. Oh my God. Okay, Joe Shalom. I do apologize. I didn't respond to your call. Your super chat. And thank you, Joe Shalom. You guys won't admit it until it doesn't even matter anymore. Stephen Miller has been at this for 25 years. He got you. It worked. I think I know what you're talking about, and it ain't nothing that I'm going to be smiling about or happy with. I think I would be more likely to agree with you. I didn't know it was that long. 25 years is a long time, but wow. He will be disappeared tomorrow. He said you're a disgrace. Oh my God, that was mean. That was me. An illegal that hates illegals. That's a good point. He said he came here. He did not come here legally at first. Then he went back home and came legally. So based on his own statement, I guess he could have possibly been deported and would have had somebody just like him happy to see him get kicked out. And by the way, he would not have been able to come over here for at least 10 more years. So he left. He was here illegally, but left and went home and then came the right way. But if you get caught, I think there's like a 10-year punishment they put on you. In fact, I know it's 10 years. If you get lucky with 10 years, some people get permanently banned depending on why, but just if you get caught entering this country illegally and they deport you, it starts out with at least 10 years. You cannot come back in. But if you got crimes, like let's say Kilmar Abrego Garcia, if they can successfully get around the courts and kick him out, he probably will never be to come back under the Trump administration. Now, you might get a liberal or something in the future that lifts that restriction, but under the Trump administration, he ain't going to be to come back at all. He gone. He went back home and came back legally after he made enough money to buy his way back in, says Miley. And that's the problem too, is coming legally is very costly. As someone who personally migrated to another country, I migrated to Australia in the early 2000s. It ain't cheap to do that. It is not cheap to do that. I mean, I migrated to a first world country and you needed first world income to do that. You needed first world income to do that. So, and it takes time. It takes a lot of time to do it as well. I mean, I had to pay for medical exam. First, you got to pay for a lot of shit here before you leave. You got to get fingerprints from, your fingerprints have got to go through the city, county, state, FBI, and I had to send my fingerprints and stuff through Interpol. So to make sure I didn't have any international warrants. Then I had to get medical exams. They want to make sure you're not bringing diseases and stuff like that into the country. I had to pay for x-rays and shit. It's a lot to it. It is a lot to it. You got to have all of that's at your expense. All of that stuff is. And that's in addition to having to hire an immigration attorney and things like that. Most immigrants ain't got that kind of money. They just do not have the way to do that if you require them to come legally. Trump will give them a free ride home and $1,000, says NZ. There are people on TikTok that have lives like we're having here, and it'll say on got deported in May, ask me any questions and things like that. I've talked to a few of them. Apparently that $1,000 thing is a lie. Every one of them I've talked to so far say people are not getting that $1,000. They saying that's a lie. I don't know if it is or not, but every Hispanic I've talked to that is now back in their own country on TikTok talking to people about it, taking donations from TikTok. By the way, help your boy get his TikTok cap goals. Help your boy out. Show the program some love. But by the way, yeah, they always say that $1,000 thing is not happening. And tap the screen, get us on up to 40,000. Going back to the box, how long can you survive on $1,000? Not long, but it could. Listen, if you go to some countries, it might help you out. Let's say if you're trying to get an apartment, it might give you somewhere to stay for 6 months. I mean, they're not trying to take care of you, otherwise they would not have kicked you out. But if they give you $1,000 and you go to some of these countries that are like Haiti, for instance, $1,000 probably goes quite a ways in Haiti. If you're just trying to get yourself a little tiny one bedroom apartment, $1,000 probably will pay off a year's rent. So, I mean, it depends on what you're trying to do with it. You should be promoting your Venmo or Cash App, Tim. Really? Okay, the handsome liberal on Cash App. Shout out to you. I never thought to do that, alter ego, but yes, the handsome liberal on Cash App. You want to show your boy some love? I ain't gonna hate on that. Hey, I might get deported one day. Help your boy out. I might need a small apartment, a studio apartment in the middle of Belize. So Cash App. They have enough to pay the cartel. Yeah, and it's the money they use to pay the cartel is generally, might be a year's salary or more. Might be a year's salary or more. Anyway, let me go back to the box. Democrats are making fun of me for, this is my last caller said this. Democrats are making fun of me for being an immigrant, but in reality is because I am a conservative. I don't think they're making fun of you for being an immigrant. I think they're only making fun of you for being a conservative. If you're in the Democrats, as you stated, talking to my last caller in the comments, the Democrats are pro-immigrant. They're not making fun of you for being an immigrant. They're making jokes in light of you for being a conservative after admitting the Democrat Party is pro-immigrant. You said yourself you came here originally illegally. The Democrat Party would have given you a place to stay or something to eat and helped you out. The Republican Party would have been trying to get rid of you any way possible. So that's where they're making fun of you. Is they're kind of looking at you as if you, what is the phrase? You look a gift horse in the mouth. You don't realize where you came from. Some people, it's that type of way they're looking at you. Like that's my opinion on it. Let me go back to the box. We'll continue on with MAGA Reacts. Good evening. The last caller has some sense of. Fair enough. There you go. NC says you have sense there. MAGA Reacts. Good evening.
Hey, what's going on?
No, I'm just hanging around like Jesse Jackson at a Klan meeting. How's it going on your side?
Well, same. Crazy 2 days. Got a bunch of flat tires, one after another. It was fucking nightmare to deal with.
What did you do? Drive through a protest with a MAGA hat on?
I wish. No,
You don't wish that. You don't want to do that. So, did you hear that Trump but he did. The Trump administration fired a bunch of FBI agents that took a knee during the 2020 George Floyd protests.
Yeah, I'm not for that, but I also understand why they did it. Like Jeremy said, they're supposed to be neutral, and they showed their bias toward BLM and toward the left. So how can you trust their judgment when you see they're on the side of the left, especially when
I'm under the impression
terrorists.
They're
calling people on the right terrorists.
Yeah, I haven't seen this, but I think I heard somebody say that during January 6th, some of the Capitol Police officers actually had put on the MAGA hat. I mean, wouldn't that be the same thing if they did that?
Well, they're the difference between police and investigators. Police are just supposed to keep the peace. They're just patrolling.
So the police can be biased?
I mean, they're just trying to be nice. Were these people trying to be nice, or were they taking side?
They were trying to be nice. They were trying to de-escalate things by making light with the protesters.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, at the same time, the FBI was calling people on the right fucking terrorists. People that were concerned about their kids and shit.
That wasn't the whole FBI. That was a stud. Just like Trump's FBI is calling the left terrorists. I mean, that's what he is saying right now. All of the violence is from the radical left. At that time, back in 2017, his FBI was saying the greatest threat were white supremacists.
No, was that his FBI?
Yeah, that was his FBI that came from. Back in 2000. That was in 2017.
Parents terrorists.
What?
They were literally calling normal parents that were objecting to schools, doing shit to their kids, terrorists.
That ain't what
the
FBI.
People terrorists.
Yeah, that ain't what the FBI was talking about, though. The FBI was saying the biggest growing threat to this nation's security is white supremacists. That was coming back out, and that came out, I think, in 2017 under Trump's first term, and Trump disagreed with it.
No, but they actively called like regular people that were worried about the school system terrorists too. They were on the list, and they were investigating them and shit.
Well,
This was a huge scandal back then.
I don't know about the FBI calling folks that were. What were the people doing again? What exactly were they doing?
They were just complaining about school boards setting some like LGBT rules. I forgot the exact details, but they were just complaining about school board. It was like a father complaining that I guess a trans person was in the same bathroom as his daughter and she was assaulted. I don't remember all the details.
Did he threaten any violence?
I don't know.
Well, that's going to matter. I mean, if he showed it to the school board and talking anti-trans shit and threatening to hurt people, like a lot of people say, look, if
He's
this,
talking about protecting his daughter. He's not trying to hurt anyone.
well, it's a lot of folks who say, if one of them go in the bathroom with my daughter, somebody's gonna. I mean, you're making up shit that ain't happening and then threatening violence against it. So if you go to a school board and you're making these kind of statements, that is threatening violence. This is not happening.
You're guessing, and I don't know for a fact. So we're the ones making shit up right now. Yeah. So let's not do that.
Okay, then.
I doubt he said anything that serious.
I'd have to. My guess here's where I'm going to admit I'm speculating, but I don't imagine the guy just went to a school board meeting, had a peaceful conversation, and they started labeling him as a terrorist. If he got labeled as a terrorist, he said a little bit more than something peaceful.
And it wasn't just him; it was a huge group of them that they were looking into the school boards and how.
Yeah, a lot of them were pissed off.
They were all labeled terrorists.
Yeah, they were. A lot of them were super angry. They were going through the library, picking up books and saying that there was homosexual material in the books. They were really scrutinizing places, and they were showing up at school board meetings.
Some of that came later. You're convoluting shit that came later with shit that was there in the beginting. In the beginning, they were just complaining about guys being in the girls' bathroom.
If they got listed as terrorists, they at the very least they were threatening violence.
I don't know. I'll get the details, I guess, for next time. Or I really don't want to waste my time on this.
Okay.
I'm just telling you what I.
So what brought you up then? What brought you up?
A lot of things. Fuck, the way grandma and the rest of these people are treating you is the reason the left is never going to win another election. I really don't think they ever will, because you're literally on their side and they're treating you like shit. So what do you think the regular voter is going to do when he's trying to be on the left, but the left is treating him like shit because he's trying to be fair with the right?
I agree with that, but I'll tell you the difference though is most people on the left are not like gangster grandma. So if everybody on the left was like her, I would agree with you 100%. But I talk to people on the left all day on this program, and they're not like her.
But they are like her. That's the problem. Especially the loud ones that everybody hears, and that's how everybody's feeling on the left. That's why even though Trump's so unpopular, the left is staying unpopular because they haven't learned any lessons, and they're still repeating the same old shit from 2 years ago, or that caused them to lose their election.
Here's why I disagree with you. If that was the case, Trump would not need to tell Texas to give me 5 more seats. If what you're doing is so much better for the country than what the left is offering, you don't need to gerrymander the seats like that. That you're doing that because you know that some of this stuff may be at risk. So even though I'm not going to sit here and celebrate the left and disagree with you. There are some areas where the left is getting it wrong. I think that the whole transgender thing is toxic. Whoever runs for a left-wing seat should avoid answering questions in regards to transgender stuff like the plague. They ask you, what is a woman? Your mother. And just walk away from it. Don't answer that because it's a gotcha question. So I do agree the left is winning some areas off the chain, but so has the right. I mean, there's obviously some of these deportations and some of this stuff, violating free speech rules like canceling talk shows and shit like that. That's why he is gerrymandering seats, is because even though the left is in
argument I don't want to get into yet. I'll get to that in a second. But he's gerrymandering seats to fight their existing gerrymandering.
No.
How does Trump win such a landslide election and only win the House by 2 seats? It's because the system was gerrymandered toward the Democrats. That's why, we have such a huge lead in the Senate. He wins the fucking popular vote, yet the House is only 1 or 2 seat fucking win. That just tells me the system is gerrymandered.
Well,
South Florida has never been so fucking red but that crazy blue lady still has a seat down here. And I'm like, how did she keep her seat?
You do realize the same thing is happening, and I believe it's in North Carolina, where it's like, half of the state is black, and they got very, very few black politicians in that state because the gerrymandering is so bad. But in Texas, they just gerrymandered their seats like in 2021, and now they're doing it again in 2025. It's normally done every 10 years. So what they're doing in Texas is different than what anybody else has done.
They had a huge influx of people, so that's why they need to do it so quickly again. If you had that big of a change, and same here in Florida, we had such an influx. Florida should do it again.
That doesn't apply to what we're talking about.
There's no point.
I'll tell you that's wrong, because in Texas, as red as that state is, Austin is a progressive city. Austin, in fact, is one of the most progressive cities in the state of Texas. This gerrymandering that Trump is about to do is going to make Austin a red city. That city is blue all the way around. That is a blue area. That is a progressive area. But the gerrymandering, dragging in conservative areas from outside of the city, is about to make Austin a red area. That ain't got nothing to do with people moving all around. That is just straight gerrymandering to make it so that the people in that area don't get to choose who they want to represent them.
There's examples on the other side. I just gave you an example down here in South Florida. Miami's turned red. Everything down here is red. Yet we still have a bunch of blue Congress people down here because of the gerrymandering.
I'd be curious to see how red Miami stays at this one on.
I mean, you just heard the last person. I mean, this is the other issue that you guys keep getting wrong. You're convoluting illegals with regular migrants. Regular migrants aren't worried about getting deported.
No, he was an illegal. You do know that. He admitted he came here illegally too. He just don't recognize his own heritage anymore.
Being here, he was able to become legal. And so should more people. Like,
if
you've been here that long and you're still illegal, you're just fucking lazy. Like,
what he did is he came in the same way they're coming in, but he had to shut the door so they can't use the method he used. Because now all of a sudden, since he's old enough to get a job, he now sees that method as a harm to his income. But when he needed to use it, he was totally okay with using it.
This is the other problem. You misunderstand people like crazy. Like, you got to learn to understand people and what they're saying much better if you want to win again. You misunderstand the right, or not even the right, just for people who I don't know if you're doing it on purpose or what, because I heard the same conversation you did, and I did not get that same message at all. How could we hear the same thing and you get a different
You
message
didn't get that he came in illegally?
Yeah, but he also left and came back legally.
Right.
He did it both ways.
But he don't even want...
Legally is better than illegally every time.
Yeah, but he don't even want the people to come in the way he came in the first time.
No, he said he preferred the second time. He preferred doing it legally because now he's got, he can't be kicked out. Now he's has kids and has roots here.
Yeah, if you come here,
the difference between like robbing to get rich versus like doing it the hard way and going to college and shit. You want to promote doing it legally. You don't want to be like, oh, we should let people rob because they can't make a living the right way.
I don't think you realize, if you come here illegally at 7 like he did, and you stay here for a number of years before going back home, and then coming legally, you got a significant advantage on people that are trying to do it from scratch like he wants them to do it now. For instance, to come into this country, you got to be able to pass a civics test and all that stuff. If you came at 7, you don't went through the U.S. school system. You speak English better than most of them coming here. You got all kinds of advantages that you inherited by coming here illegally, that you're shutting off from other people, that you want them to do it from scratch.
That's just life. Life is never 100% fair. Like, what are you going to do? Like, get 10 years here legally, and then send them home and... Bro, you guys are working...
Life is never 100% fair. And that's coming from the guy who used the method that he's now telling you you're wrong for using.
I don't think he said you're wrong for using it. He said it's better off doing it the legal way. And, I don't know what to tell you. I did it the legal way. My family did it the legal way. And even the people who have done it the illegal way, if you were here that long, you could have easily gotten your citizenship over such a long period of time.
I'm curious, with your family coming here the legal way, Do you know how much did it cost him? Do you know anything about that? How long did it take and all of that?
It was before 9/11. I don't think it was hard. We just had to wait for a lottery win or something. It's been such a long time.
You said it ain't that hard. You just gotta wait for a lottery win. Really?
But this isn't like the money lottery where only one person gets the whole jackpot. This is like a constant lottery every, Honestly, I'm not even going to talk out my ass because I really don't know the details of how we came here or how the lottery works. You're better off talking to your last caller about that than me. I was a kid. I just fucking rode the train.
I know, to me, it just sounds like you guys got lucky and now you want to make it so that make it harder for other folks that want to be where you're at. I mean, you guys were able to use the system in ways that you don't want them to use the system, but you use it to your advantage to get where you're at.
I don't see it that way. The way I see it, if immigrants are needed like they were back in the day, they will be welcomed and they will be let in easy as fuck. So let the need build up, and you're gonna see Trump or whoever the president is begging people to come in legally. But the more you let illegals come in, first of all, they're like basically slave labor, which is fucked up for them. Yeah. You're basically promoting.
Actually, it's not. And like when I asked the last caller who said something similar, I asked him. I said, "Hold on." I asked him this because he said something similar to what you said. I asked him. I said, "Would they be better off turning down that slave labor and staying at home?" And he said, "I don't think so."
Yeah, sometimes it's better to be a slave in one country than to be a regular free citizen in another. Yeah. Because the other country.
Yeah, they're running from potential death. They're not just running from slavery. I want you to hear something before I'm moving on from you. I want you to hear something. Do you know who Charleston White even is?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
My face.
I want you, because he got in trouble for, because he's a comedian. He got in trouble for saying some things about Charlie Kirk. But I want you to hear this because it's interesting.
I'm with white folk because I with everybody. How y'all gonna tell me what I can't say? It was fun and dandy when I talked about the George Floyd and his daughter. It was fun and dandy when they had the Uvalde school shooting. I made mockery of the Uvalde Mexican baby getting killed. It was funny when I made the Houston news talking about raping Asian babies. It was funny when I was talking about the Jews and Aiden Ross' sister. It was now it's on y'all. And y'all used to love me, set my tickets, but now it's on y'all. I told y'all I don't like nobody. I like white pussy. I don't like white people. I like Chick-fil-A. I like the Constitution. White folks just happen to be in the way of that. But I don't like nothing and nobody to say I won't talk about them if something happens. It's what I get paid for. It's called satire comedy.
When Charlie Kirk died, I looked up your name on Twitter, and a lot of people said that you were the Charlie Kirk for black people.
There's no such thing as a Charlie Kirk for black people. No. Let me tell you why. Because I'm a black man that stopped looking at white people's problems and started looking at my people's problems. Charlie Kirk didn't look at his people's problem. He stayed looking at black people's problem as if we're the problem.
That's not true.
Now they ended up doing a react to it. But what do you think about what he said? Is that Charlie Kirk never really talked about anything negative in the white community, just all about black stuff.
That's not true at all. He talked a lot of negative stuff about the white community, especially the youth, how we're like addicted to porn, how our lives are fucked up, how we don't get married and have families like we used to. He criticized everything.
Well, he didn't say white people when he did that, though. I mean, because he said the same thing on blacks not being in two-parent households. He said that about blacks too. But when it came to the black community, he was specifically saying black people. Did he say that about whites in any area?
But he meant.
No, we don't know that. No, we do not know he meant white people.
Well, how about this? The problems that white people have, everybody has. So we can't really specify white people then. I mean, how did you want him to specify white people when it comes to those things?
The same way he specified black people, calling it out by name, using the pronoun.
I mean, he called out plenty of shit that's fucked up with white people. And I mean, I knew when he said that shit, he meant white people. Maybe he should have said white people. But
yeah, I don't know anything.
It's really something that's good for all people. And The other thing that I don't know if I mentioned this last time I talked to you, the black people are a huge, they vote Democrat. And just like the youth that he was targeting, he's trying to target the people who are voting for Democrats to show them that the Republicans is the better way to go.
Not like that. Listen, that's like trying to get a fat girl to come to the gym and work out. You were a trainer, and you're trying to do it by constantly telling her about cellulite and how fat she is. Negative reinforcement never gets any kind of results. I mean, when you listen to how awful the shit Charlie Kirk was saying, you're not going to get a whole lot of blacks to better themselves by doing that. That's the same thing Candace Owens was trying to do. I mean, everything you say about the black community is negative, and you expect people to actually come in your side and listen to that?
Listen, negative reinforcement works. That's why Trump is president.
No.
Okay? That's all Trump is good for, negative reinforcement.
No, because Trump ain't, that's not true, because Trump is not attacking MAGA. His negative reinforcement is for people that he don't expect to vote for him. Ain't nobody voting for Trump from negative reinforcement. He's calling MAGA patriots.
No, the negative reinforcement, you go for people who are not voting for you to show them that, you could fix it and make it positive by them voting for you.
Give me an example. What is he fixing? What is he talking about that people voted for him because he promised to fix? Other than the economy.
Charlie or Trump?
Trump.
Trump is the economy, it's foreign policy, it's the border, it's the wars, it's all the shit he talked about.
That's
like the family and people's spirituality.
But that's not negative. That's just typical. Every politician that runs for office promises to fix that stuff. I'm talking about when you're attacking specific demographics, saying that this demographic of people live in shitholes, or they don't do nothing with their lives, or they're dropouts, or they're gangbangers. I'm talking about that.
Because they vote Democrat.
You said what?
They live in shitholes because they vote for Democrats, and Democrats are the reason their cities are shitholes.
That doesn't make sense to me, though. That never made sense to me, MAGA. And I'll tell you why. Is because when Trump and the right, I'll just say the right, when they say a city is a shithole, it's generally crime based. When we start talking about who's dead last in education, dead last in infant mortality rates, dead last in number of residents that have health care, all of them red states start popping up. But they don't count that stuff. For them, shithole is only meaning that there's a lot of crime in your area. Poverty and all this other stuff, they don't take that in consideration.
Well, crime and poverty is a sign of the other things being fucked up. They don't count those, though. As long as it's a symptom to the disease.
Yeah, but as long as your city does not have a lot of crime, the right ain't gonna call it a shithole. It could be fucked up in every other category. As long as there's not a lot of crime there, they're not gonna call it a shithole.
Yeah, safety is an important thing. When you have safety, you could work on the other things.
But healthcare, you do realize there's probably significantly more people in this country that die from poor or no healthcare than they do from crime.
So we should you think letting crime go rampant is going to fix everybody's health care?
I don't think getting rid of Obamacare or trying to make it so that people can't get health care is going to fix the problem either, though. I mean...
Listen, we had a lot of years before Obamacare, and a lot of people say the country was better.
I haven't heard anybody saying, man, let's go back to the Bush years of healthcare. And once Obamacare came, I haven't seen anybody say, it was much better.
I'm not about the Bush year. I'm more thinking the Clinton years, the before 9/11 years.
I don't
fucked up everything.
Yeah, but back in them days, that's because your employers weren't as greedy as that. The employers have gotten so greedy. That's the reason your healthcare has gotten shitty, is because they want to make these huge salaries. The only way they're going to make that kind of money is to pay you less and give you less benefits. A whole lot of careers are going straight to 1099. What do they call it? It's not a W-2, but it's called contract type work. I mean, a whole lot of careers have went that way because they don't want to pay the people.
That's bureaucracy and the way I see it. The way I see most insurances and most these people work, they don't want the money from the people. They want the money from the government, and then the people have to pay it back through taxes. So the fact that they're going after tax money more than people's money tells me that the issue is with the government and their fucked up tax code. They're not trying to milk you for every dollar you got. They're trying to get that money from from the government, because the more they subsidize shit, the more they could charge more, and the government has to pay. So the more you pass these fucking Obamacare type shit, they could charge whatever they want, and the government has to pay, and the government is never going to go broke because it's the government, and then we end up paying it through taxes and through debt.
All I know is that when you look at Republican states, you have far less entitlement programs and stuff like what you're talking about now, and the people are living far worse economically than they are in these violent Democrat cities. You can talk about how violent Chicago is, but in terms of income, certainly when it comes to people that are people of color, for instance, most of the people of color that are doing well with their lives, got a house, got a nice car, living the American dream, most of them live in liberal cities. They're not living in rural Alabama. Most of them are living in, if you want to be a person of color where you can get a good union job, working for the post office, working for the park district, working for the police department, working for the bus company, you live in a liberal city. You don't live down there in bumfuck Mississippi. They're not paying shit down there. But you guys just don't call that a shithole.
I mean, it's all relative because the expenses are also not that high down there.
No, you can.
Also, all these places you listed with all these socialist stuff, I don't think they're better off than anywhere else. I think they have their own problems, and I don't think they're better off at all. I don't think New York is better off. I don't think LA is better off. I mean, California is surviving because California itself is a beautiful place. Has nothing to do with how it's governed. I think if they governed it right and with how beautiful it is, it should always be growing.
I think anything, but that's the point I was trying to make with you. Anything can be a shithole if you only focus on certain aspects of it. If you focus on crime in Chicago, then some small Republican city is not going to come close to that. But then when you start focusing on salaries and things like that, I get the notion that the cost of living is higher in Chicago than, say, rural Mississippi. But even with the higher cost of living in Chicago, that person still can afford an apartment better than the person in Mississippi. They're driving a better car than the person in Mississippi. They got more in their savings than that person in Mississippi. They're still doing better. Even with the higher cost of living, they're doing better. Them people that live in rural Mississippi, rural Louisiana, rural Kentucky, rural Tennessee, them motherfuckers are really fucking poor. Really poor. Even with the low cost of living, they are really poor.
No, I understand, but my argument is more the crime. I understand the cost of living.
And that's what I said.
The market balances each other out, but the fact that the places have more crime, that we should be always against. I don't know why you're trying to say crime is okay.
Because the difference is there's plenty of people that live in Chicago that navigate through that city every day, and they're not a victim of crime. Most of the people that live in them rural areas are poor. I mean, that affects far more of their population than the crime does in people in these cities. I mean, they got 600-700 murders in Chicago over the course of a year, but they got like 8 million people hovering around the metropolitan area. So most of the people are not getting murdered.
New York has 8 million and they only have 300 murders.
Right.
Like you keep going back to Chicago. Chicago's a loser.
I'm going back to Chicago because that's what Trump keeps focusing on. The point I'm making is even if you live in America's...
It's a bad example. Chicago has a huge crime problem. Just because they hide it through like shitty stats doesn't mean it's not. They don't have a crime problem, especially since New York.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
bigger and it has 300 murders.
What I'm saying is the poverty problem in Republican states is greater than the crime problem in liberal states because it affects far more people, percentage-wise, per capita, you name it.
Crime, I really should just let you be, but it goes back to the fact that you keep voting for Democrats despite the problem never getting fixed, and we're trying to show you that maybe we come in. Use a heavy hand to stop the crime and at least the good things, and you could vote for us.
But I don't get that. You're going to go into liberal cities and stop the crime, and you're going to totally ignore all the poverty in your own areas. That doesn't make sense to me.
Because crime is easy to solve than poverty.
No, it ain't easy to solve. If crime was so easy to solve, then the war on drugs would have been a success. I mean, the 3 strike laws would have been a success. Going to capital punishment would be a success. Crime ain't easy to stop.
The war on drugs is an addiction problem, not a crime problem. People are addicted to these drugs.
That's a crime.
They literally fucking die if they don't get them sometimes.
Using drugs is a crime.
It's different than the war on crime.
Using drugs is a crime, though, MAGA.
No, I understand, and in that way, I kind of agree with you. You should be more lenient with drug users. But I'm talking about like theft. I'm talking about murder. I'm talking about other things than drug use.
I'm just simply saying.
I'm okay with drug use.
I'm just simply saying
that doesn't bother me. If
I'm
you're just talking about drug use, I would agree with you.
I'm just
But we're
simply
talking
saying
about murder.
poverty affects far more residents, far more citizens in Republican areas than crime does in liberal areas. It affects, to me, that should be where you should focus on as opposed to going to crime. To me, it ain't got nothing to do with crime being easier to solve. They just want to fuck with the liberals because they're not even trying to solve the crime in Republican states. They're going strictly to liberal states to do it. Even though some Republican states have a high crime rate.
States don't have that much crime. It's more a problem in Chicago and places like that. Yeah. And if they do solve the crime problem, it fixes a little bit of the poverty problem because you can invest in a place with no crime.
Yeah, you and I disagree on that. You and I.
Why would you keep investing?
Yeah, you and I disagree on Chicago being more crime than a lot of these Republican states. Memphis has more crime in it than Chicago. You just say because Memphis is a smaller city, we should skip over it and go to Chicago. But the statistics show Memphis is a more violent city in a red state than Chicago is. But because Chicago's in a liberal state and it's far more liberal, they like to attack it. But no, Memphis, St. Louis has more crime than Chicago. New Orleans has more crime than Chicago. Should be in all of them places first. I'll give you the last word.
Replace that. No, you're saying it wrong. It's crime per capita. It's not more crime. Chicago has more crime, but those places have more crime per 100,000 people. So you're talking about crime rate versus actual amount of crime. Chicago has more crime than all those cities, but the rate is higher in those cities. And it's just bullshit language. When you look at the fucking truth and you realize that Chicago has more crime than New York, that's 4 times larger than it, it should have a quarter of the crime of New York, not fucking triple or quadruple the crime of New York being a quarter of the size.
Yeah, everybody that measures, every entity that measures crime statistics disagree with you. I got to move it on, though, MAGA. Appreciate
That's more
it.
politics than anything.
Whatever.
They're not being
they all disagree. Unless you're right and they all wrong, I'm going to run with what they're saying. I got to go. Appreciate it. Moving on with the program. Like I said, I'm not against lowering crime in big cities, but his argument is because Chicago has more crime in sheer numbers, you should start. Well, Chicago got more people in sheer numbers. You would not expect Chicago to ever have less crime in sheer numbers than St. Louis. I mean, St. Louis has like 200 and some thousand people. Chicago has like 2-point-some million people. It's 10 times as many people there. So, of course, there's going to be more crime, but per capita, St. Louis is higher than Chicago is. Ask him what did he mean by saying we like he's white. A lot of my guests, Top Dog, say that he identifies as white, so I'll leave it at that. Hey, by the way, tap the screen, folks. Get me on up to. See if we can get to 50,000. I live in St. Louis, and we don't see the crime, to be honest. And a lot of folks say the same thing about Chicago. What does that say? Tehran. It depends on what side of town you live on. I mean, if you live downtown Chicago, or if you live on the north side of Chicago, or if you live near O'Hare, or you live near Midway Airport, you're not seeing a lot of crime. It's on the south and west sides of Chicago. Every town has its violent side. Every town has some areas that are not that bad. Every big city is like that. But Chicago is... It really is just a sea of liberalism. You know, Obama's from Chicago. The mayor of the city has been blue for God knows how long. It's been Democrat mayor after Democrat mayor after Democrat mayor. The governor of the state is blue. They've had a history of tough gun laws. So everything about Chicago and the state of Illinois is blue in that area. So it just makes for a better target than, let's say, Memphis. Even though the mayor of Memphis may be blue, the governor is red, the county is red, they don't have tough gun laws. So you can only attack so far when you go out to Memphis, or when you go out to St. Louis, or when you go out to New Orleans, because you're not going to be able to climb the ladder very far before you're criticizing a Republican as well. But with Chicago, you can do this. Just like Los Angeles, you're hearing Gavin Newsom, who's the governor of California, being blamed for the crime in Los Angeles. Notice in the violent blue cities that happen to be in red states, they're not blaming any of the governors for it. You don't hear them blaming the governor of Louisiana for what's happening in New Orleans. You don't hear them blaming the Republican governor of Missouri for what's going on in St. Louis. You don't hear them blaming the Republican governor of Tennessee for what's going on in Memphis. But they're blaming the Democrat governor for what's happening in Chicago and the Democrat governor for what's happening in New York or what's happening in Los Angeles. So they make better targets because we got plenty of liberals to attack. And having said that, that means it's not truly based on actuality. It's based on, party, what party we can attack. It's not actually based on reality. Anyway, looking in the comments though. Thank you, host. I appreciate the facts. I appreciate you tuning in there, Mac. Thank you. We had the best neighborhoods until they came in and destroyed our city purposely. Wow. Well, look, if you're from, I'll just say the hood, a lot of folks believe that they put crack in black neighborhoods to cause all of the chaos and havoc. And if you're Gen X like I am, or even before Gen X, baby boomers or whatever the case may be, you probably do remember a time when the black neighborhoods were not as bad and not as violent as they are now. I grew up during a time when, back when I was a kid, joining a gang was more for belonging. Maybe you got, you were getting bullied, so you joined with this club, so you had strength in numbers and they didn't fuck with you anymore. What you did for making trouble, maybe you tagged some shit. You spray painted on some stuff. Threw rocks, busted out windows and shit like that. You smoked when you were underage and you shouldn't be smoking, or drank booze when you were under. You didn't go around killing motherfuckers. You didn't go around doing stuff like that. Because what ended up happening once they put the drugs in the game, all of a sudden, because you could make money, you had full-grown adults getting involved in gangs and shit like that. That wasn't happening much when we were kids. You didn't have 40-year-olds affiliating with gangs and shit. You didn't have that because they weren't making money. Once people could start making money, you had people of all ages, people that were involved in professional corporate America, working with gangs and shit because they could make money in it. And that's when it became more violent because there was something to fight for and all of that. All of that wasn't happening back in the 70s and 80s and shit like that. It wasn't violent like that. Well, the end of the 80s was when the crack epidemic kicked in, but you go back to the 70s and all, it wasn't violent like that because you didn't have all of that in there. But once the crack epidemic kicked in and now being in the gang meant you could make real money and shit like that. Money brought a lot more problems, brought a lot more adults to the game. All of a sudden, now you got cops on the payroll, all kinds of. Now all of a sudden, it's just like mob type shit. It got way worse. Looking in the comments, that's because you stayed in the house and watched TV. You don't know I'm not about the. What do you say? You don't know I'm not about the streets. What do you mean? You're telling me that even back in the 70s, you had full-grown Nino Browns running around? I don't know. I know people used to run numbers and shit like that. It wasn't as violent. I'm going to tell you that it wasn't as violent. I mean, I knew one person that got, one homicide I knew of when I was in elementary school. You live in the hood now. People know multiple people don't lost their lives. It wasn't as violent. Maybe you can tell me I wasn't running the streets, but I was out there enough to know that. My boy always asked me how does the drugs and guns get into our cities? When I say us, I'm with the poor people no matter what color you are. I think I kind of get what you said there, Joe. So let me go back to the box, tap the screen, get us on up to 40,000. Let your thumbs not be lazy on that. We'll go back to the box. Go to Wow Bill. Good evening, Wow Bill. Welcome to the program. He said that's because I stayed in the house. That's Bo. Let me know, because I was in Chicago. Maybe it was different in your area too. Wow, Bill. Good evening.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing real good.
Couple things too that came in here that makes the gangs more violent. The guns are cheaper. More automatic guns now flooding the area.
Wait. You say guns? Wait, I didn't hear the second. You said guns were. Are you saying guns were cheap? Guns were cheaper then, or guns are cheaper now?
Now.
Yeah, true. What was the second one? That is true. That is true. What is the second one?
And then there's more availability to assault weapons. You can get hold of them and
that is true too.
Do some damage.
That is true too. But when you think about the Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say when you think about the crime that's being committed in a lot of urban areas, I don't think most of it's being done with assault weapons. Most of it's being done with pistols and handguns.
I agree. I agree fully.
So do you think we should, because a lot of folks believe in, when it comes to our gun rights, shall not be infringed. Do you think we are too liberal in handing out guns? Do you think we should actually do something about that? Or do you think it should be the way it is?
I don't think there's any way that we can do something about it. It's what it is right now. If we make a law, no assault weapons, no larger magazines, anything like that, people are going to have it. And even though you put the laws for it, they're still going to be out there. The bad people are going to have the guns, for sure. And if you take them away from the rest of us, then, then you have to wait on the mob or be in charge, you got to go along with that.
I'm going to tell you, I actually disagree. I've talked to a lot of folks on this, and they, obviously my Second Amendment folks hate when I say this, and I carry myself, but just because I carry don't mean I think it's a solution. Just because I carry don't mean I think it's something that you could never solve. I believe that you could greatly limit firearms in this country. It might take a generation or two to do it, but it absolutely could be done. And I'd say first thing is, you got to turn off the spigot of new guns coming into the country. If everybody got to print their weapons, that's one thing. But in terms of being able to go out and purchase weapons, I don't know, the Second Amendment, does it protect you being able to open up a gun store and sell them? It protects your right to bear arms. I'm not talking about taking your weapon away, but you could limit how many weapons are being sold. You could also, certainly when you're taking them off the street, because once you start limiting how many new weapons are coming out, that will make the ones that are already in existence, all 400 and something million of them, because you mentioned guns are cheaper now because they keep pumping new ones out. If all of a sudden there's no new ones coming in, the ones that are floating around are going to become more valuable because every day they're taking hundreds of them off the street, whether it's cops, whether it's buyback programs, whether it's people losing their weapons or committing crimes and dumping them in the river so you never find the evidence. I think even with the buyback program, everybody said, well, I'm never going to sell, I would never sell my gun. To me, the pawn shops are a perfect example of what happens when you offer guns. Pawn shops all over this country have no problem with people selling guns to them. If you need the money, and as I said, once they start preventing new guns from entering the market, the gun you have suddenly starts going up in value. And it will continue going up in value as they keep taking more of them off the street. Eventually, either you're going to sell it or you're going to keep it until you pass away and somebody in your family is going to sell it because it's going to keep becoming more and more valuable. Or maybe you got 10 guns. And now all of a sudden, because they're so valuable, well, shit, I can get by with only 5. So you're going to continue taking them off the street. Like I said, it might take a generation or two, but down the line, it will get to the point where the firearm will be significantly more valuable and less people will have them. There are countries that have taken their population's firearms and dwindled them down to only a few people having them. So there are examples of it has been done before.
I think it will just increase the black market for the guns.
Yeah,
do that.
I believe that.
I agree that.
But like I said though, if it goes on the black, what happens anytime something goes on the black market? The price goes way up. You're not going to have a bunch of 12-year-olds purchasing firearms to do drive-bys and shit if the gun costs $1,000 to get.
True. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, so let it go in the black market.
Yep. Let's hope that we get a chance to have the buybacks.
Well, they have buybacks now. The problem is, like I said, you got to turn off the spigot of new guns entering the market. Make it almost impossible to open up a gun shop or sell new guns. The buyback is useless if new guns are being pumped on the market is at a greater number than the buybacks. That's what I'm saying. Once you cut off the faucet of new guns entering in, you got 400 and some odd million guns floating around, but no new ones are entering in. So if you want to keep your gun, you can keep it. We're not taking away anybody's guns. But we are going to continue taking them away from criminals when they get caught with them and they shouldn't have them. You know, people lose their guns. So still the supply is dwindling down and people know that. So the price is going up. And like I said, the more the price goes up, the less people are going to be able to afford them and people are going to start hoarding the weapons they have. So it won't be as many weapons flowing around for criminals to get.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
That is the way to do it.
But you gotta want to do it. Right now, we're on this mindset of, well, there's too many and only criminals are having, so let's just do nothing and just keep offering thoughts and prayers, and that's kind of what we've been doing.
Yeah, and that doesn't work.
No, and they're starting to shoot people that are actually in the process of praying now. I mean, it used to be somebody gets killed, you issue thoughts and prayers. They're now starting to shoot people who are in the midst of praying when they're getting shot. So they're making sure you know the praying ain't gonna work. Because he was praying when I popped him. So I can tell you praying ain't gonna work.
Oh, I agree.
So
just like there in that Michigan, there's going to be those people.
Yeah, they were in church.
It's just going to happen.
Yeah, they were in church when when Dylan Roof took out the 9 African Americans about 10 years ago. I mean, it happened in church. You don't think a lot of them were praying before they got killed? I mean, so yeah, anytime there's somebody's walking through a Walmart popping people, you can best believe a whole lot of prayers are coming up out of that Walmart. A lot of them folks that are laying there that they find deceased, they died, their last words was praying. They were praying when they got hit. So the praying is not going to work.
Agree.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
So I do want to, did you hear about, just because we were covering another topic, did you hear that there were some FBI agents back in 2015, 2020 during the whole Summer of Love George Floyd protest, as you see on my screen, they took a knee with the protesters. Trump just fired them 5 years later. What say you?
How can anyone justify what he does? You know, it's just he is going into these cities, and he's just hoping that there will be a resistance of firearms back against them, a shootout type thing.
Wow.
So he can declare martial law. I think he's really going to declare martial law before the elections and try to stay in.
So you think he's using that? So you think in effort to try to get martial law, he's using our men and women in uniforms as bait, hoping that somebody tries to do something to them so he would have an excuse to declare martial law?
Yes, I do.
Wow. That's terrible. Yeah. That's terrible if he's doing that.
Well, it's just who he is. You know, his thought is he's going to stay in power no matter what.
Do you think we're going to have a normal election next year for the midterms?
6 months ago, I would have said yes. Now I don't know. I'm not sure.
Wow.
I sure hope so.
Well, he is our guy for the next 3 years. I'll go ahead and move it on. This is our first time talking?
Yes.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. Come on back anytime. My door is always open to you. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you so much.
Anytime. Appreciate it. All right, moving on with the program. By the way, tap the screen. A lot of lazy thumbs in here. What the hell? We should be around 80,000. I'm not even at 40,000. Wow, what the hell is going on? Tap the screen, get the likes up. A better question is, do you think that the Democrats will turn out this time instead of sitting home? Wow, that's a great question, handsome conservative. I want to say yes, but I don't feel confident saying it because it depends on who the Democrats put out for candidates. Now, I do believe the Democrats will turn out for the midterms. I do believe that. But I don't know who they're going to put up to run against the Republicans in 2028. And I'm going to say it this way because a lot of folks on the right are saying the Democrats are never going to win another election and all this stuff. And, and all that. I think what folks even on the right are not realizing as well is that unless we change the law or the Constitution, your candidate is not Trump. I think what people are doing is saying that the Democrats do not have anybody that's strong enough to compete against Trump. He's not supposed to be the candidate. Now, unless he changes the law or something, then that's a different story. But they say the Democrat Party does not have a leader. J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio are nowhere near as strong of a leader for the Republican Party as Trump is. So we can talk about Gavin Newsom is not a strong leader, or you don't think Gretchen Whitmer or Hakeem Jeffries could pull it off. J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio are significantly weaker than Trump is. They're not going to bring the same excitement. They're not going to have Trump can pretty much explain his way out of anything. I don't see J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio being able to do that. I just don't. So we can talk about how weak the Democrats are, but understand in 2028, the Republican Party is going to be weaker too. We don't know how much weaker, but they're going to be weaker as well without Trump at the helm. So we'll see what ends up happening. But are the Democrats going to show up to vote, as you said, handsome conservative? I believe I can say it with confidence in the midterms. I'm not for certain in the presidential race, because let's say the Democrats put up somebody who's radical. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is still considered to be radical, for instance. Let's say they put her up and the Republican Party puts up somebody that folks feel is more sensible. Then I think the Republicans would win again. So it depends on who they put up. As I've mentioned before many times on the live, the Democrat Party needs to steer clear from anything going on in Gaza and anything related to the LGBTQ community. Just don't even answer questions in regards to that stuff. That stuff is toxic, particularly the LGBTQ community. It is a toxic topic to discuss. If you want to let the LGBTQ community know you're an ally behind the scenes, Project 2025 style. I'm not gonna do anything for this community. You can say it, but then deep down you are going to help them out. Do it that way. Kind of like the Project 2025. I've never heard anything about it, and then all of a sudden he wins and it's something different. If you do something like that, that's one thing. But the LGBTQ stuff for the Democratic Party is toxic. So I wouldn't even talk about it. In fact, in my opinion, the Democrats' next candidate needs to be a straight white Christian male. I would probably shy away from any minority. I wouldn't go with a woman. I wouldn't go with anything that is anything other than Christian right now. I just think the country has went further to the right. We're not anywhere near center. We are somewhere center right at this point. So you're gonna have to acknowledge that. Now, next guy comes in, he may be to drag them closer back to the center in the leftward direction, but right now we're center right. And the further right you go, the stronger you need to be Christian, the stronger you need to be straight and not in the LGBTQ community. The stronger you need a man. They don't, you get too far to the right, they're not favoring a woman in a leadership position, all of that shit. So that's my opinion. Anyway, looking in the comments though, AOC is brilliant, but not ready for president yet. Not in this environment, Mac. No, she is not. This country has always been center right. Well, we're further to the right, Wayne, than we used to be. If you look at America during George Bush, we are further to the right than now. I mean, remember, Reagan gave immigrants amnesty. George W. Bush talked about they'll do jobs no Americans want. Trump is like, fuck it, let them get eaten by alligators. We've went much further to the right. Reagan and Bush would not have been a fan of putting Bibles and 10 Commandments in schools. It's happening under the Trump administration. So we're definitely going further to the right. I suppose they would have been in favor of an abortion ban, but it happened under Trump. So it's definitely further to the right now than we've ever been. America is only right-wing politics if you talk about the international space. That is true. On the international scale, yeah, we're pretty far right. Going back to the box, we'll go with Takesha Bowie. Good evening, Takesha. How you doing?
Hey, Anthony.
Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
I'm in the trenches as usual.
Huh?
I'm in the trenches as usual.
What are we talking about today?
Wait, well, on my screen, did you hear? I'll play it because you haven't heard this yet. It's a quick clip, but I think it is noteworthy because I can't believe this happened.
A number of FBI agents have been fired for protesting in the wake of
I heard about
Floyd's
that. I heard
murder.
about that taking a
ABC
knee.
News learned the group in question.
What do you think about something like that?
5 years ago.
Right.
You gonna come from 5 years ago and fight these people for their rights. They got a right to protest.
Do they?
Yeah.
Because some people are saying they don't.
Every citizen has a right to protest. Every citizen.
While on the
According to
job?
Constitution.
While on the job in uniform?
Hell, some of them folks ain't did never took a damn knee. Now, people doing worse than that. But did you hear this? I heard that Cash Patel came out and said that there was no FBI involved in that insurrection. That the FBI that were there on duty, but they were not involved in the actual insurrection. I said he's gonna be fired by the morning. It's true. Donald Trump gonna fire him in the morning.
Well, with Trump, you never know. I want you to hear this one. Since you should know about the taking the knee. I don't know if you heard this before. You know who
I love Charleston White.
You really? Well,
yes.
Well, hear this one out.
I'm with white folk because I with everybody. How y'all gonna tell me what I can't say? It was fun and dandy when I talked about the George Floyd and his daughter. It was fun and dandy when they had the Uvalde school shooting. I made mockery of the Uvalde Mexican baby getting killed. It was funny when I made the Houston news talking about raping Asian babies. It was funny when I was talking about the Jews and Aiden Ross' sister. It was now it's on y'all. And y'all used to love me, set my tickets, but now it's on y'all. I told y'all I don't like nobody. I like white pussy. I don't like white people. I like Chick-fil-A. I like the Constitution. White folks just happen to be in the way of that. But I don't like nothing and nobody to say I won't talk about them if something happens. It's what I get paid for. It's called satire comedy.
When Charlie Kirk died, I looked up your name on Twitter, and a lot of people said that you were the Charlie Kirk for black people.
There's no such thing as a Charlie Kirk for black people. No. Let me tell you why. Because I'm a black man that stopped looking at white people's problems and started looking at my people's problems. Charlie Kirk didn't look at his people's problem. He stayed looking at black people's problem as if we're the problem.
That's not. What do you think about that?
I think he was absolutely correct at the end. But what did I tell you the other day? If I can get you to focus on over here, I can screw you with your life over here. Because you ain't focusing on your life. You too busy focusing on somebody else's. That's what Trump do. If he can keep you focused on the Democrats, you won't even know he's screwing you just like he's screwing them. Because you too focused on them that you ain't paying no attention till he running Vaseline up your butt too.
Oh my God, you're showing the gangster grandma. But how is Trump screwing MAGA? And by the way, DD16 says go Cubs. They did secure their wild card berth at home. Thank you for that chat. That is true. How you said if he could get you to focus on the Democrats, then you won't know he's screwing you. He's not screwing MAGA over, is he?
I said screwing them too.
How is he doing that though? He's not screwing them too.
Their groceries going up, their energy bills going up, gas still up for them. They ain't doing no better. He ain't doing nothing for them, just like he ain't doing it for the Democrats. They not prospering. You think the Democrats ain't prospering and MAGA prospering? Come on, all of us are in the exact same boat, but you don't know you in the boat because you too busy watching them that you don't know it's a whole boat too.
What about what Eric says in the comments? So Eric says that's not true. Gas prices are down.
Where you live at?
I don't know, but I agree with him. I've seen gas prices coming down in different parts of the country.
I ain't seen no gas price down in Alabama.
Not at all.
I went to Chevron. It was $2.98.
I've seen some gas.
Plus, we pay a tax on our gas.
I'm surprised because, like I said, I've seen gas prices come down. I don't know what your locals gives. You know, a lot of your gas price can be your state, city, and county taxes added onto it. But I think gas prices under Trump, at the very least, they're stable. They're not going up, I mean, I think they have been going down. By the way, let me just do it this way. By way of yes or no in the comments, are gas prices going down in your neck of the woods? Type yes if gas prices are going down in your area, no if you're not seeing that. I'd be curious because somebody says LA gas is somebody got $4 a gallon in LA. That's down, isn't it? Because when I was over the road, it was $5 in LA. Hell no. Okay, a lot of people are saying no. So, all right.
I don't know where maybe you live in the United States of the America, because I don't know where you stay, because you be seeing stuff I don't see.
I thought gas was going down some. Somebody says yes. Okay. A lot of folks are saying no. Even on YouTube, when I got more MAGA, cut it out. What is it? Somebody says cut it out, created a need for employees, equal opportunities. Okay, that ain't talking about what we're talking about here. What is the minimum wage under the presidency that we have now? He hasn't touched
$7.25.
I thought gas was going down. Okay, maybe I called it wrong. Looks like more of my audience is saying no.
Yeah, you the same person. They're probably going to the grocery store and swear prices going down. You going there with that $20 knowing you need $40.
That I know is not true because I bought, I like to eat it.
Man, I went in there to buy a pound of hamburger today in Walmart. $14.
Damn. Yeah, that I know for certain because I like to have a good steak at least once or twice a month. I like a good steak dinner.
Right there.
Yeah,
we won't be eating no spaghetti this week.
Wow, spaghetti. I mean, like I said, I like a good steak, and not to get a good steak at at the grocery store, you're paying $20-something for that shit now. It's like, damn. I mean, yeah, it is. I agree with you. The price of groceries has not come down, and Trump made it sound like that would come down.
If we just be honest, nothing is getting better. Nothing.
The border?
And I don't give no damn. I don't live by no border. I could care less who come over there and who don't. That ain't affecting me at all. Ain't no immigrant never took a job that I wanted.
Well,
they ain't affecting me.
I guess then I gotta ask you then if nothing's getting better. I got MAGA saying that Trump is the best president we've ever had. They want to put him on the front of Mount Rushmore. What are they seeing what are they seeing that you're not seeing?
He can say what they want to say, and he brainwashed them for the past how many years? Been about 10 years now. He never stopped rallying, so he kept feeding their brains and feeding them think he was the greatest. The same way J.D. Vance finna do. Because did you hear that interview he did where he said the Democrats want trillions of dollars for undocumented immigrants to get insurance? That's why the government gonna shut down. Now come on, House.
Yeah. I saw somebody.
Y'all make the immigrants the boogeyman. Y'all gonna use them folks for every argument you can to make it seem like something negative when it comes to the Democrats.
Yeah, I forgot who it was. I think it was, no, it wasn't Hakeem Jeffrey. Somebody I saw him, but he made a good point. The Democrats need to do a better job making sure the public knows that if the government shut down, they ain't got nothing to do. I mean, the Democrats don't have any power.
They gonna hold no house.
Yeah, they need to
won't hold the House, won't hold the Senate.
Right. I mean, they've been passing all kinds of laws, even with zero Democratic votes. They've been doing all kinds of shit on their own. Why can't they do this? So they do need to let a lot more people know if the government shuts down, this is not the Democrats.
They never come out and talk about what's true and what's not true. Because I'd have got right on TV and said, that Maybelline wearing mother effer is lying.
Well, there is a fear factor to Keisha. I mean,
I'm so sick of the mascara man. Just stop lying, JD. If the government shut down, it's on y'all.
Yeah. Well, if the Democrats don't get out there and talk and they let Trump and JD control the narrative, people ain't going to feel that way, though.
That's my whole point. That's the biggest problem I got with the Democrats. Like Joe Biden, you never got out there and told about your infrastructure, none of that you accomplished. So people assume you didn't do nothing.
Yeah, that is true.
And you let the narrative go on that you ain't doing that when you had done a lot of stuff.
But that's one thing that's really good about Trump. And I know you don't like hearing me say that, but he talks to the people, even if what he's saying ain't always true. Fact is, he
ain't always true.
I tried to get that through there.
Wait, hold on. Ain't always true.
Sometimes he may exaggerate a little bit.
Sometimes.
Just a little bit, every now and then.
Every time he opened his mouth, he lying. I ain't heard that man tell the truth about nothing yet.
No, he said the border is secure. That's true.
Handsome.
Is it not?
Handsome. I'ma say it again. I could give two flying free. Yeah, the border's secure because you ain't letting nobody come in and seek asylum. If I wouldn't let nobody seek asylum, I could make sure the border was secure too.
Yeah. I mean, listen. He changed the rules. I'll give you that. How about this? He protected the integrity of women's sports.
Handsome. Them two transgenders out of 15 million that ain't moved me now kind of way. Dude, isn't there such thing as co-ed sports? You know, where men and women play on the same team?
Not in combat sports, though.
I'm asking a question.
Yeah, maybe tennis or something. I guess you could have a female
When you was
partner.
young, you didn't play with your girl cousins.
Shit, when I played with it, something else ended up happening, though. You know that.
That's nasty. You stank.
When I say, can I come over and play? We usually ain't talking about athletics.
Me and my cousins used to play baseball. Girls and boys mixed on teams. Yeah, we used to play sports together.
Yeah, but that's not a combat sport, Takesha. We're talking.
Me and my cousins used to play WWF wrestling. We had an old mattress in the backyard in my auntie yard, and we used to wrestle each other.
I mean, I ain't gonna hate. I would have no problem wrestling in a nice, well-endowed BBW, but I don't think that's what you let happen in I mean, listen, the man's gonna win every time.
I don't agree with it, Handsome, but can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Can I take that argument to the grocery store?
No, not at all.
Can I take that argument to the light bill place?
I ain't gonna hear it.
And I put that in my gas tank and drive around.
You're not gonna get very far.
I want him to do some of the stuff he said he was gonna do day one. Drop them prices. In that war, now you're mad at your lover that you came over here and got married with. We were coming down the red carpet, you were clapping like you had saw the love of your life. You know, y'all walked off hand in hand, got in the limo, Putin waving like he the new bride with the tin cans behind the beast. You know, y'all rode off into the sunset. He done came over here and showed you, yeah, I'm a war criminal. I'm coming right over here. Now he done attacked near Alaska, the place he met you at. Y'all play too much. Putin just let Trump know I ain't standing you, and I'm going to keep on making a fool at you.
I don't, I normally push back when I got something, but I don't have any pushback for that. Putin made Trump look like a fool. And the right is not going to really bring that up because it is Trump. But if he did that to Biden or Obama or Clinton or somebody else, they would point. I mean, he really has made Trump look.
A war criminal came on U.S. soil. And the other day he gonna send a missile. He gonna strike right by Alaska. Yeah. The place he was a visitor. Come on, Handsome.
Have any pushback for that?
That's why I keep telling you, Putin makes a fool out of Trump. Trump was doing all that smiling. He was sitting there, his hands were so sweaty. You could see the sweat just dripping from his hands. He was so excited Putin was there. They were supposed to go have a lovers dinner. Putin canceled that dinner, got right back on his plane, and went right on back home. And then while they were sitting there talking, he was already bombing Ukraine.
What about the notion, though, that unlike Biden, at least he did try to reach out to some of our adversaries?
Handsome.
I got it.
Handsome.
Yes, ma'am.
Handsome.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Where did he get him?
You can get him anywhere, but he tried.
That's just like reaching out to your ex-woman, asking, can you come over tonight?
I tried.
She gonna say 8 to the now. Yeah. So a try is not a try if don't nothing come from it. Biden was smart enough to know that Putin ain't finna budge, and they no sense of tricking yourself and let Putin make you think he your friend just so he can play you real big. That's all Putin did. He made Trump think he liked him. He made Trump think he was his friend, and in the end, he screwed him.
Like I said, if I could push back, I would.
What was the purpose, Handsome?
It was costly, and I mean, he gave him a flyover. I mean, those aircraft.
You rolled out, Handsome. Yeah. You rolled out the red carpet. You put on extra makeup. You told them to put some white rain hairspray so your hair could stay in place while you stood and married Putin on that red carpet.
How about this though? One of my viewers said to comment to the caller there is a saying that goes something like, keep your, what is it? Says, keep your friends close and your enemies closer. He's saying that Trump understands that I suppose that can help you or something like that. Or he said
How's it helping? How's it helping him?
it didn't. Like I said, and what my viewers said about keep your enemies close, your friends close, your enemies close. I would actually have used that if something.
I don't agree. Let me tell you why I don't agree with that. Because the closer you got your enemies, the shorter distance they got to stab you in your back.
Ooh, damn. You really?
I've never used that. Damn. Keep your enemies close. Why would you let somebody you can't trust up on you that close? To sneak you.
Damn. That's a remix to that I've never heard, but that makes a lot of sense. I
don't use that because that's foolishness to me. I'm gonna turn my back on my enemy. I got him close to me behind me. I'm gonna turn my back and he gonna stab me.
I would have used what he said, though. Keep your friends close, your enemies closer. If there was something Trump was getting out of that or working on with Putin, but because it has went so bad, I mean, he's had multiple meetings with Putin. He's made multiple threats and sanction scares to Putin. Has not carried out any of that, and Putin has only stepped up his attacks in Ukraine. It's been an utter failure.
Let me say this about Putin. Right before Trump got in office, Putin let his state media put Melania's naked body all over Russian media. There's number one. Somebody told me when Trump get in, he gonna get him back. Trump never got him back. He ain't never say nothing about him putting his wife naked body on the media. Okay, then he came over here, had him a good time, and then set up. Trump always say, if I had been in office, the war never would have started. Then Putin said right there and fed Trump his own words. If you was in office, this war never would have started. He just played it for and Trump bragged on that. Putin said, if I was in, the war never. Stop, Trump. He was being sarcastic, sir. He was not being for real. That's how he playing real hard, Ansel. Trump want to be Putin friends. It hurt his feelings when them three leaders was together and they didn't invite him. Trump said, I wish y'all well. He probably cried all night. He didn't even want his Big Mac and Coke that day. His feeling was so hurt. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Was it? Wait, with North Korea, India, China, it was four of them.
Russia.
Yeah, it's four of them. Okay.
And they didn't invite him. And he said, but I wish you well. He probably cried all night, Hanson. Looking at Putin over there with those other men, and he wasn't there standing next to him. It was heartbreaking.
Oh, I see the cover. Somebody says you precious. You got my audience going crazy laughing at that shit. That's funny. That is funny. Well, listen, this is the guy we got for the next 3 years. He is our commander in chief. We got to make do.
Listen, Hanson, let me tell you. I don't think he's gonna be in no next 3 years. Stop that. But listen.
Wait. Why are you saying that?
I just don't think he's gonna make it the next 3 years. Not that he's gonna perish, but I think something is gonna get him out. You know what's gonna get him out?
What?
When Mike Johnson stopped delaying this lady getting sworn in so we can get them Epstein files. He delaying the
I don't think that matters.
Wait a minute. The new person that's supposed to get sworn in, Mike Johnson delaying it because she gonna be the 218 vote, so they can have to bring it to the floor to get it voted on. They said Trump called them congressmen and told them they don't need to be voted to release them files. Why not?
I don't. Something. Look, if the files get released, I do believe there will be stuff in there that'll probably, at the very least, be embarrassing to President Trump. But I want to tell you, when it comes to MAGA, I don't think it matters.
I don't care nothing about MAGA. I'm talking about the people that really have some decency, that care about children, because they were children when this happened, that really, really care. I think that's going to be it. He knows it. That's why he's trying so hard not to let them be released. We didn't care nothing about who that woman was he released her files on the other day.
You talking about?
Was it Anne Hathaway? Who was it? He released some files on the other day?
I don't know, because
Amelia Earhart. Amelia. We didn't
are
kill
you
him, baby.
serious? He released on the pilot that got lost in the 1930s?
You heard what I said. We didn't ask for that.
Amelia Earhart, really?
We didn't ask for that. We asked you for them Epstein files. Yeah, he released Amelia Earhart.
Oh my God. But I'm going to tell you, I don't think a large portion of this country cares what's in there. When he said middle of Fifth Avenue, I believe that.
MAGA doesn't care what Trump does. I'm going to say this, and I don't care who get offended. For some of them handsome, they probably think it would be a privilege if Donald Trump touched one of their children because it was Donald Trump. Trump touched you? Oh, my God. What day? Oh, that's great. He chose you to touch. That's just how ridiculous they are when it comes to this man.
Well, that's our president. I got to move it on to Keisha.
All right, handsome.
Jesus Christ. I appreciate you coming through. Thank you. Always.
Bye-bye.
You bring about a smile. You say some crazy shit, but thank you. All right. What did I just do? Fuck. I stopped my own damn live by mistake. I did not mean to do that. I dropped her, and instead of dropping her, I turned the live off. I'll read the comments here on YouTube real quick. Mac, no, he wasn't. Victims are on record saying Trump wasn't implicated. Clinton is, but Trump is not. Look, I don't know. I'm not going to say Trump is implicated on the Epstein list or not, but I will say his actions on this is shady as hell. And Cowboys just took the lead over the Green Bay Packers at only 43 seconds left. I'm a Bears fan, so I'm hoping Green Bay does not win this game. They got 43 seconds left to take the ball downfield and try to score. They're down by 3. So overtime likely, or they're going to lose. Hopefully they lose. But real quick, I don't know what's going to go on with the Epstein files. I'll just say this. The way Trump has handled this shit looks shady as fuck. There's no other way around it. Look, let's go back a year from today. Let's go back a year from today when we were about to reelect Trump as the 47th president of this country. I'm talking not just to liberals. I'm talking to my beloved MAGA. Is there anybody that thought almost 9 months into Trump's term we would still be wondering what's on the Epstein files and that Ghislaine Maxwell will be sitting in minimum security with no reason given as to why her stay has been upgraded? So I don't care if he's on the list or not. The way he's handling this shit is shady as fuck. It makes absolutely no sense what he's doing. Why are you so hesitant on releasing this shit? It's pretty clear the only reason we have not received everything about the Epstein files is because of Trump. I think that's pretty clear that the messages come down the pipe that he don't want the stuff released. Why? Why not? If you're not on it, you're not implicated. Why not? And the only defense MAGA is given, well, because there are innocent people that might be hurt, people he know and friends or associates. So what we're saying is he possibly cares more about friends and associates than children that have actually been victimized, because there are going to be actual predators that's on the list that he's holding up. Let's say he does know of a friend or associate that hasn't violated anybody, but the information coming out in the files will make that person look suspect. So to protect that person's integrity, you don't want to release the list. Well, while you're protecting that person, you're also protecting all the real pedos that's on the list. You're preventing their names from coming out. So no matter how you look at it, what Trump is doing looks shady as hell. I mean, it just, what the fuck? They about to let him score a touchdown, but it looks shady no matter how you look at it. I'm just going to say that. And for that reason, for me, it don't matter if Trump's name is on the list or not. He just should not have became president and then just literally tried to do whatever he could to prevent that information from coming out. And that's absolutely what he is doing. They're not even, the Republican Congress, they're not even hiding the fact that, he's the one that's telling us not to release this shit. I think, what did they say? If you actually, you will be considered an enemy or something like that, they said. If you sign with the liberals to get this information out, you'll be viewed upon as an enemy to the party or something like that. Why? 9 months? And we've got nothing. And not only did he do that, as I pointed out before, we're talking Ghislaine Maxwell is now sitting in minimum security. None of that has been explained whatsoever. And then he was even questioned, would he consider pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell? And his answer was, I haven't thought of it. I could do it. I mean, this woman is essentially a serial pedophile. Why wouldn't the answer be, hell no, I'm not going to do no shit like that? I haven't thought about it. I could. His handling of that is terrible. I'm just going to say his handling of that is terrible. And shame on anybody trying to make excuses for why he's done so bad with that. That's all I can say on that. His handling has been gross, the way he's handled that. And because of the way he's handled it, you can't blame people for wondering if there's more there. If he's not trying to hide something. Because he didn't campaign on doing this. He didn't campaign on keeping this shit hidden like that. And those people should be ashamed of themselves for not voting to release this. Aaron, I cannot agree with you more. I cannot agree with you more than that. I totally agree. Taco Man is a pedicure. Taco Man is a pedicure is the answer. He cares only for himself. I don't, like I said, I'm not going to go into whether he cares only for himself. A lot of people do believe that, but he certainly does not want to have these Epstein files released. I don't think that's up for debate. 9 months? You got him on record saying stop talking about the Epstein list, actually telling the people not to. Everything he's done on this has been shady. Everything he's done on it has been shady. I think if you feel he's 100% innocent, that doesn't make any sense at all. His actions are not even 100% innocent. And as I just stated, even if he is 100% innocent, his actions are protecting people on the list that are guilty. So, if you're protecting pedos, how can you be viewed as being much better than one yourself? Did you hear the latest behind the scenes quote to staff? No, I did not. TV, I would like to hear that though. What do you got? What files you want? Department of Justice uploaded hundreds of thousands of Epstein's files in prison surveillance and victims. Well, at this point, who said that? Hugh, I think something you said what files do you want? The Department of Justice uploaded hundreds of thousands of Epstein files and prison surveillance and victims video. Well, at this point, I'll say this. It ain't just about the files anymore. Why the hell did you say stop talking about the Epstein list? Why is Ghislaine Maxwell sitting in minimum security? You've done more shit since that makes no sense. So he's done more stuff that needs to be explained. Why is she in minimum security? Why did you indicate that you haven't thought about pardoning her? Why wouldn't you just say no? So he's done more stuff that don't make any sense at all. So yeah, I don't know what he's up to, but to me, it definitely looks like he's trying to hide something or protect something. I'll just leave it like that. Of course, TV said he said something like people don't know what Miami was like back in the 1990s. That sounds suspicious as fuck too. There's more info. Even the victims are saying there's much more. Yeah, that's true too, Mac. That response to Hugh's comment saying, what files do you want? The Department of Justice uploaded. You're right. The victims are even saying that everything has not come out. The victims are even saying, we know the people and we'll create a list ourselves. The victims have come forward and stated that what Trump is doing is not complete. So, no, like I said, Trump's actions on this look shady as fuck. It clearly something else is there. Lexington still streaming live. Hey, Lexington. Lexington put in some good work back in the 90s. I wish. Good looking honky. Your name is crazy. Good looking honky. I like that. My personal theory is there's so many CEOs, bankers, world leaders on the list that releasing the files could cause national global economic collapse. Then we should have a national global economic collapse. We can't, because look, anybody that's on that list that was doing that to children, you know how we view pedos. That's why we put them on a registry, because they can't stop. So if you got people on that list and you're not releasing the list, chances are you're allowing more children to be violated. The people on that list that have not come out, they're probably still doing it. So by you keeping the list hidden, you're letting new children probably be victimized. That's why they're on the registry. It's because we believe that they don't stop doing it. And the Packers just tied the fucking game with 0 seconds. So it's going in overtime. I can't believe that shit. Anyway, Trump is not on the list, says Walter, and then Jack comes back and says Trump is on the list. And like I said, it doesn't matter if he's on the list. And by the way, didn't his own people advise him that he's in the files or something like that? I don't care whether he's on the list or not at this point. As I keep saying, his actions are protecting people that are on the list. If you're on the list, you want a president that's doing what Trump is doing right now, keeping the list secret. You want somebody in office that's doing that. If you're a victim, you want somebody in office that's not doing what Trump is doing. So what he is doing is benefiting the assaulters and harming the victims further. They've come forward and told you that. The victims have come forward and told you he's not being forthcoming with what's going on. They've even told you. So, and I'm wondering about this when Jack KK in the comments says Putin has more serious stuff on him. I'm starting to wonder about that because he has threatened Putin several times and not followed through on any of the threats. And that ain't Trump. Trump don't normally, if you don't do what he wants you to do and he has the power to do something to you, he normally does something to you. To threaten Putin about a half dozen times and not carry out on any of them, I have been wondering if Putin does not have something on Trump because his actions with Putin are totally different than it is with anybody else. He didn't have any problem bombing Iran. Didn't have any problem going in there with Iran. Didn't have any problem bombing Syria. For some reason, he's in Venezuela now. I mean, for some reason, Putin stepped up the offense after Trump threatened him to show the world this dude is not scaring me at all. So, I see somebody say Venezuela's another. Yeah, he seems to have no problem bombing those countries. But the country that he has threatened several times, nothing. I don't know if Putin has anything on it, but what Trump is doing is not fitting his normal narrative. Normally, if you fuck with Trump and he's in power to do something to you, he will do something to you. And this just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Anyhow, folks, I do appreciate the fact that you guys tuned in. I took my TikTok down by mistake. I don't normally do. I ended up disengaging with a caller, and instead of disengaging with her, I disengaged from the whole damn TikTok. So we'll be back on tomorrow as usual. If you enjoy this type of dialogue, what do we always say? Give your boy a subscription. If you happen to be watching earlier on TikTok, feel free to follow us on TikTok. By the way, we are on plenty of other platforms. I'm trying to start going live either on X or Truth Social. And we're on Clapper and Instagram and Rumble. So if you use any of those sites and you come across the handsome liberal, do your boy a favor. Give me a follow. Any of those sites. Clapper, Instagram, TikTok, Truth Social, X. And we're on YouTube right now and TikTok. So until then, I'll see you folks tomorrow. Y'all take care and have a nice night.